Evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. It is Wednesday, March 11th. North American stock futures back to the downside. Once again, here we go. The roller coaster on the downswing once again over, possible stimulus measures when it comes to both the U.S. government and global economies and how effective they will be over the long term, or if they will be effective over the long term. U.S. President Trump saying Tuesday he suggested a 0% payroll tax that could last until the end of the year. Timing on such a measure as far as the policy goes and when it would be implemented remains in question, though. Trump's comments came as the number of coronavirus cases globally surpassed 100,000, with 1,000 now alone in the U.S. as far as confirmed cases go. Individually this morning, individual virus-related stocks gapping to the upside once again. Co-Diagnostics, one of them, CODX. We also have INO on the move in the pre-market to the upside. We'll touch on those coming up. On the data front this morning, we had core CPI data for the U.S. at 8:30 for February. That came out a little bit higher than expected, 0.1% reading versus a flat expectations. Guys, here we go again, back to the downside once again.
Yeah, it's a yo-yo action, like you said, in the market. Good morning, everybody, and here we go again. Once again, I don't get the memo for how we're supposed to be dressed. It's a nice-looking shirt. I want to know who got it first. Of course, that's gonna be important. There you go.
Yeah, I've been wearing this thing for like 12 years, bro. I don't buy new clothes, but hey, if my wife is watching, how are you? And we'll have to go some clothes shopping. But thank you, Neil. Yes, yesterday we were sort of wearing the salmon shirt, and now you're kind of wearing like, I don't know, like a broke down salmon.
I have no idea what you call this one, whatever the wife calls it.
We're gonna have a good show today. You see the Dow now almost giving back what it made yesterday. I think we were down 800 and something points heading into the day. There's oil today, so that's gonna be exciting to see. That's gonna be dropping at 10:30. Brendan will have that with us.
Yeah, that's a must-watch today.
Yeah, we have Mark Webb coming through, talking about some Brazilian stocks. It's gonna be an exciting day. I mean, I know you're already in a position.
I really can't wait. We're going to talk about those coronavirus names, and Brendan mentioned Codex, but yesterday in the afternoon, if you're watching AYTU, it's just all over the place. Halt after halt. It must have halted like 20 times. Today, second day, got some action already. We got a short fading into this one. First time fail, second time succeeding, at least so far, but we have to take a look at the numbers from yesterday, because the broad spectrum of results at Day Trade the World were fantastic, and starting with the New York leading the way at 25,000, someone to pull out of there, and an Amex, and there's a really decent chance there. You're looking at some ETFs there. It's whether you're trading the SPY, whether you're trading the Russell, it doesn't matter. And over in the NASDAQ, I suspect AYTU was so good. I know on this floor, lots of profits made there, so that could have been the 16,000 made. Europe, fantastic as well. You actually had the emergency rate cut there from Bank of England. Maybe we'll get some fireworks again, but 15 and 13 pulled in out of Germany and Paris, respectively. So the volatility is great. 1,000 points up one day, 1,000 points down another day. Whatever it is, we'll take it. That's giving us ample opportunity.
Yeah, I know, and excuse me, not too many earnings. We are through sort of earnings season right now, so there's a few names that I'll be on my list here, and we'll go over those with Brendan, including XOM. I think that should be good. We talked about oil popping off today, but it's almost 9:05. It's almost time for our first guest. Let's throw it back over to the big desk with Brendan.
Cloudera reported, guys. That was really it as far as earnings overnight. We'll have a look at CLDR coming up, but let's jump into some markets here. Our good friend Mark Webb standing by from XP Investments. We're going to touch on Brazil in a second, but we'll head over to the APAC region, see how things fared overnight in Asia. Going to see some negative numbers once again. Australia leading things to the downside, 5+% in negative territory as weakness returned to the energy markets. Hong Kong and Shanghai, both the Chinese markets back in the red once again as well. Look at Japan up there, 2.2% to the downside. Again, uncertainty over global economic stimulus and how effective it will be at curbing, slowing economic growth as a result of the coronavirus epidemic. The reason. Let's go over to Europe and see how things are shaping up so far in Europe. Pretty flat, a little bit mixed there. You can see Italy back to the downside. The entire country remains in quarantine, negative 0.6% for the Italian market. England in negative territory. There was a Bank of England emergency half-point interest rate cut this morning. England back to the downside, 0.2% only. It was slightly higher when I sat down this morning. Let's have a look at North America here, see how things are faring heading towards the open in the U.S. Yeah, we're basically at session lows here right across the board. 3+% moves top to bottom here. Brazil there, 3.4% to the downside. Going to touch on a few things to keep in mind if you're trading Brazil stocks today. Bitcoin back to the downside. We have crude lower once again, heading towards that inventory number coming up at 10:30 this morning. Let's bring in our good friend Mark Webb from XP Investments and talk about that Brazilian market. Good morning, Mark. Here we go again, back to the downside.
Good morning. How are you?
It's good. Thank you. A busy morning once again. Obviously, you sent us a note this morning with some key levels to kind of keep in mind when it comes to the index in Brazil. Why don't you reiterate those to start and talk a little bit about how important on a historic basis those levels are for the overall index?
Sure. One of the things that we're looking at here on the BOVESPA is looking at the BOVESPA graph in U.S. dollars. Yesterday, or on Monday, it hit a level of around 17,900, which is a level that it hadn't seen since 2018. And if you look back even further, back into 2016, the last 4 years, it's been a consistent level that the market has bounced off of in U.S. dollar terms. So we're certainly watching that. Today, it had a good bounce off that level yesterday, as a lot of markets did. And then again this morning, we're trading a little bit lower, but not approaching that level yet.
A lot of big-time energy names down in Brazil trading on the Bovespa. We had the huge, collapse in the energy markets on Monday. How did individual names kind of fare up in relation to the price for crude? And are there any specific ones you're kind of watching today with crude back to the downside?
I mean, we always are watching Petrobras, right? I mean, that's the biggest one, the one that is certainly the most watched. The stock has been under a lot of pressure. We have seen, as has kind of been the trend across the market, we've seen locals in buying that stock and being out there aggressively taking positions here, and the U.S. guys continue to be sellers.
You mentioned one earnings name. What was it? MOVI3, I guess, that reported earnings. How is that faring so far this morning?
Yeah, so MOVI3 reported earnings this morning. The numbers were better than what we expected, better than what the market expected. They had a couple segments of their business that finally reached break even, which the market should take as very positive. The stock was up 14.5% yesterday. It's currently in its opening auction now, getting ready to open, and it's looking like it's going to open up slightly to the upside, which is good given the move in the market. So certainly outperforming this morning.
Obviously, a little bit of a staggered open in Brazil. The market itself opening at 9 o'clock,
Correct.
But individual names kind of coming into play on a staggered basis. Any other specific names you want to mention for traders watching this morning?
I think IRBR continues to be a interesting name to watch. We talked about that the last time. There's been a lot of news around the stock. The stock's been under a lot of pressure. They confirmed a new chairman after the close last night. The market should take that positively and should like this guy. So it'll be interesting to see what the price action is in that stock today.
On a higher level, I mean, as far as the index goes, we saw double-digit percent moves over the past couple of days. If we do start to see some sort of strength coming back into the overall market, is there a specific area that we should look for as far as leaders go?
I think the leaders are going to be a couple of things. I think you're going to see there's not a big tech space in Brazil, so that would certainly be someplace we would talk about to look for leaders, but there's not a big tech space. I think after that, they're going to go for the big cap names just because they're liquid and they're easy to get into. So Petrobras, Vale, some of the banks, iTub, things like that.
Great stuff. Mark Webb from XP Investments. We'll let you get back to your desk and back to monitoring the overall markets. Appreciate the time. Head over and check out Bovespa, guys. Lots of opportunity in Brazil. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. Thank you.
There you go, guys. A little bit of a look at the Bovespa. We touch on it every single day here as far as the index itself. Lots of opportunity, lots of volume, lots of liquidity down there. Worth having a look. Let's head over to Valeria and check in with her and say good morning on social media.
Thanks, Brandon, and hello, everyone. I wish you a great trading day, and market is crazy again today. So, guys, if you're passionate about trading and if you want to learn how to trade, you're at the right place in the right time. I'll be leading live chat as usual, so feel free to ask us questions, leave us comments. I'm always there, guys, too. And of course, like our video and subscribe for our channel. The button right under this video. Back to guys.
Yeah, any questions, any concerns, guys, throw them in the chat. We'll get to them as quickly as possible. Welcome if it's your first time. This is the part of the show where we jump into individual names and have a look at what is moving around in the pre-market. We mentioned a few of those already. Most of them going to be virus related here, Corona stocks, as we so affectionately call them, guys. Let's start with Codex here. Co-Diagnostics, and also Inovio Pharmaceuticals. I'm going to show you CODX, but Inovio Pharmaceuticals, both were mentioned in a Reuters article this morning that was basically talking about, weighing the risks of an accelerated testing period versus, how much demand there is for a possible vaccine. INO also saying this morning that they're looking at their generic malaria drug and the possibilities of it working as a cure for this coronavirus, guys. But CODX up 18% this morning.
Yeah, it's much of the same story for me with these names until sort of proven otherwise. If they're going to do this whole make that top really early in the pre-market and give you consolidation levels, we're going to be fading them. And then once it opens up, you can sort of switch gears a little bit. I think that's a good idea. Because the top's all the way at 890. I was using 850 earlier on. Very similar to yesterday's trade. You grab some shorts in the 825 range. Missed it the first time, the 40 pennies. We take it the second time. This time I'm going to reload, but I'm going to go with a tight stop here as we get closer to the open. I don't want this to break 825. I think I would reassess at that point. So, Codex day two, it had a big move, giving you well over $1. I mean, you could have had $1.50, $1.70. I had a trailing stop that took me out for 120. I'm not sure today you get as big of a flush with another piece of positive news somewhat coming through here, but it's still the same strategy until it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, no, I see that, Carrie. I don't know if we're allowed to drop links or not in the chat. I'm not sure, but I'm going to get Liz and Valeria is going to look at that for us.
Yeah, I mean,
no, look. The story remains the same here, 18%, 19%. You'd think those are big gains, but really, we've seen these things move hundreds of percent in a day. And INO, you could still play off the top, 740, 750 today. Look, I mean, the fear is here in the marketplace. These stocks will eventually, someone's going to come up with something, whether or not it be test kits. And, there's just a lot of rhetoric around everything right now. And we're excited, definitely, to trade some of these. Like Brendan mentioned, coronavirus stocks. I don't know.
What else are you going to call?
That's the right name. But you could also look at, if you're looking for more big-time players, there's Gilead, GILD. You can look at them. And even some of the other players. Eli Lilly's not even down that much over the last month or so. You can look at some of those names. Merck, J&J. There's so many names to play, but these are the high flyers, guys. So you want to make some dreams happen. Here you go. Both these stocks up 19% today.
Yeah, you mentioned Gilead there this morning, Sean. There was a little bit of a note saying or suggesting that they were working on something with one of their arthritis treatments when it comes to the coronavirus vaccine, or a possibility of a vaccine. Regeneron also jumping into this arena, saying that their rheumatoid arthritis treatment might be a possible solution for the coronavirus vaccine. AIM, IBIO, APT, and VXRT all doing significant volume in the pre-market to the upside this morning. So all names to watch heading towards the open here. Let's go to Cloudera. Guys, we had one earnings name here. Cloudera reported profit of 4 cents per share for its fiscal fourth quarter, beating estimates by 3 cents per share. The company's revenue also exceeding estimates. So a nice little look here. This is still CODX. We'll shift over to CLDR. Nice little look here, both in the aftermarket yesterday and this morning, holding up quite nicely.
It is holding up well. You consider that we're down, 3% overall in the market. When I check the ES here, yeah, it's still up 7.5. Remember where we've come from. There was a previous support level that had already got broken down at this $8 area. So we're back above that. Certainly you can watch out for it. You go to this pre-market action that you mentioned there, Brendan. It's worth noting, at least for me, when I look at these levels after market post earnings, there was a little pivot spot there at 875, and we are trading below that. So, in the event of a market sell-off, we're going to fill in the gap. You're shorting in maybe in this little range here. You look at the pre-market range with that 875 as a top. Just watch out. I feel like if we get any kind of bounce in the market, you might want to be a buyer in through there. And then you have that high at 930 for a scalp. If we get any kind of an extended rally, you can look a little better than that. But in these markets, you really do have to watch out what's going on in the ES. As we've talked about, the connection between futures markets and some of the currency spreads. You talk about USD, JPY. There was a spike in the futures at about I want to say it was 8:18 our time here, and it was across the board. So almost every asset class, including that yen USD spike upside. We haven't been able to get past 105. We're not going to go anywhere unless we do that. So you have to make sure you're watching all these different instruments when you're tracking these moves in the market, and it's going to bleed into even in play stocks that are on earnings.
I mean, finally a stock that is actually worth playing based on their business, not the momentum here in the market. But look, Cloudera, I love the cloud space. We've talked about that over and over again. I was looking here at the NYSE imbalances, and I found them. They're 18,000 shares to buy. So it's a nothing burger on that one. But you can see, oh, here we go. I'll hit the nothing burger for you. Here we go. This is one of our, if you're just joining us for the first time, we have some kind of funny logos there and things that will pop up. But 10-cent music, as I'm looking here, not much. We talked about ENBL yesterday. That's kind of a crazy stock. AT&T and Ford down here. But right now, looking very mixed. Neil, we've come in some days and seen all sells down here. We get a few sells, a few buys in here, and not much size on the imbalance locator. So right now, I think the market's just waiting to settle down a little bit, and I do like Cloudera through 860, 870. So we'll wait for those opening prints and hopefully come back to this name. Don't let us forget this name, Brendan. If you see it moving,
it's our only. Yeah, we got to.
I think we'll be back on this one.
And as you mentioned, actual news and actual strength behind the name as well. So definitely worth watching. I put Apple on the list this morning, guys. Apple getting a downgrade from Bank of America, and they cut their price target to $320 from $350 on Apple. So I mean, we're down with the overall market here, obviously about a 3% move, but interesting. Bank of America cutting the price target on Apple today.
Yeah, you know what? Lately, I haven't been trading Apple as much, and when I'm going to trade something, it's going to be following along. I've been tending to go over to AMD. You've seen Microsoft get traded a little bit. I might be looking at Facebook. Have been ignoring that, and Twitter is going to jump in there for me as well. But Apple, look, you're getting whipped around a heck of a lot, and I feel like you might as well just be trading the SPY or the Q if you want to be looking at this name. Ultimately, it's basically following lockstep. It's not bad. The volume's certainly going to be there. In terms of specifics when it comes to that price downgrade, I don't know how much these analyst moves are going to make a difference in the short term on an Apple. We're trading down with the market, so there's been no divergence whatsoever with that. So I don't know that it's going to have much of an impact in the trade today. It's going to follow the market. Apple will follow the market. I like it to the long side. I don't believe in that call there, Bank of America, but 270, 750, we'll take it to the long side. But again, we are going to wait. I mean, every single open, and we can check the open from yesterday as well. It gets very, very violent. You can see some of the big, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit just for you guys here. And this is Apple yesterday at the open. You see like the big volume spikes. Yeah, exactly. So you come in thinking 280 is a nice little level, and then it sweeps down. Even more than $2, Neil. Basically $4, $279 to $275 before starting to go up. And remember, this was like a nice little day yesterday in the market. So today we open up down around 900 points, thinking that Apple, and here we go, we'll check out what it's done today so far. Very, very choppy. This is the kind of levels we're talking about. 277.50 is right around here. So we can get back above, then I think we break 278. If you're being really, really cautious on this, you can wait for 278, but I'm going to go 277.50. Like one risk unit or so. I'm definitely not digging into the long today in any stock.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, the inventories in China when it comes to iPads, apparently iPads flying off the shelves in China because everyone quarantined and staying home. So definitely some underlying strength there in relation to Apple. Let's go to Uber, guys. Uber is notifying riders and drivers that it may temporarily suspend accounts for people who have tested positive for the coronavirus. Yeah. They also had a little bit of report. Fox Business was reporting that they're working on developing a transportation service aimed at kids, which I thought was kind of interesting, but big gap down this morning for Uber as well, 4% here.
We'll leave this kids thing alone for a quick second just to go over to the daily chart. I think this is going to tell you a bit of the story. We have approached but not actually breached these lows on Uber at 25.50 or so. But The next stop is going to be this 27.50. We're down 4%, a little bit more than the broad market right now. I'm looking at some of the levels. If you look at the the dip that we had in the morning into that lunchtime rally, we got as low as 27 even. So you're looking at 27.50. You're looking at that 27 area as possible sells. Look, we're just kind of bouncing about 20 handles in the futures. I'd watch out for this. There was a buyer that Brandon, what I was talking about, was right up to the 2,800. So I'd watch to see if we get any kind of quick move to that and then fade off of it. If that's the case and it immediately rejects, I think maybe Uber is a place where I would jump in on that short very, very quickly. And I think if we get that kind of a spike, you're probably looking at something in the 28.20 to 28.50, 60 range. We'll play that one by ear with how the futures are going, however.
Uber, yeah, no, I like Uber. I'm actually watching XOM now as well as oil rebounding. And Neil just mentioned about the futures here. If we could take a quick look, we got down as low as 27.65, and yeah. There's that 20 handles Neil's talking about. You see, obviously, it was a big drop here. This AM, they're not liking some of these tax cuts. They know, I mean, they would love them, but it's probably not going to happen that extreme anyways. 27.65, 27.87. Tomorrow's ECB meetings as well, so you're going to see some bazookas being fired off over there. And the futures, I'm thinking probably going to be reacting. That's why I want to go long today. I really do think that they will react positively to what happens tomorrow at the ECB, but I mean, look, who knows? We're still down 3% here. I like Uber to the long side, like Neil's been mentioning. It does follow the market. Uber and Lyft can be taken. They're basically at all-time lows here, 26.50 or so
just a buck or two
is
away.
Uber's. So you're right there. You can look. If we do get a disaster situation today, Uber could break its 52-week low.
Yeah, I want to talk about some of those oil names coming up here as well, guys. But let's do Beyond Meat here real quick before we get to some of the energy names. They announced their latest product innovation, Beyond Breakfast Sausages, will be hitting retail shelves in the U.S. by the end of the month. They also got price target lowered at JP Morgan to 108 from 134. So a little bit of mixed news there, I guess, but to the downside here for Beyond Meat.
Yeah, like you said, it's got that mixed news. I don't necessarily love this one right away. You just mentioned a level there. You're talking about yesterday's close at 91. I think if you do get any kind of a rally, if I'll just give you a better look at the last few sessions, you can sort of see 91 was a bottom a few sessions ago and then provided kind of a nice little failed breakout on Monday and then a bit of a pivot point. So it seems like it's going to be a key price. It's going to have to travel $3 to get there. So we're going to need a big move to the upside. I think in that case, if you haven't sustained a move, if you're scalping, that's going to give you an opportunity to fade in front of a level like that. If you think that maybe we're going to break out, maybe you run into that one. For me, Beyond Meat's not on my radar to trade it today. I like some other names in terms of momentum plays.
I mean, Beyond Meat was my best stock, I think, all of last year. I like it through 91, especially if these futures get going, which I do think they will. I will be taking Apple long, and I don't mind that Beyond Meat long through 91. We just hit that nice little graphic there, but now we're talking about sausage, so maybe we need to fix this up because we have the cow, but Beyond Beef.
We do have the pig getting slaughtered.
Yeah, I don't like this one.
Yeah, what can you do? But this time they're not. They're not getting slaughtered because it's the fake sausage.
Yeah. It's beyond, what do they call estrogen right now. Okay, only a couple minutes left. We're going to ring the bell, obviously, at 9:30. I'm going to be looking at Beyond Meat. Here goes Apple already to the upside at 277.
And here goes ATYU to the downside. So second stab at this one through that 215. You did have that consolidation and grind lower. Worth noting, pre-market lows are around this 180 mark. I'd love to be out of that one before we open up. We only have about 5 or 6 minutes until that opens, so if we can quickly take off a 30 bagger on this one, it's a $2 name. On the way down yesterday from $3, you were getting huge moves. There was one gap that was like 50 pennies. I don't know that you're going to see moves as big as that, but with 18 million in volume already, certainly ample opportunity. We wanted to talk about energy space, and you've got a name that I was looking at yesterday, Brendan, at the big screen.
Yeah, I'll throw this one right back at you guys. You were talking about Oxy here, down almost 9%. JP Morgan cutting their price target to 16 from 37, I believe it was. Obviously, oil bouncing, we were just mentioning, so a little bit of a bounce here, guys. How do we deal with Oxy today?
I already have my order to go long, so I'm going to go long here through 13.15. Probably will execute very soon. We do have oil number coming out at 10:30, down 9%. I think there's some relief coming for these guys. Here's 13.15 right here. You can hold it all the way back down to 13 or so. We'll take, maybe 1,000 or so shares through this level.
Worth noting, guys. You want it worth noting that there is speculation, of course, of relief coming for some of the providers there in the U.S. Whether or not that's feasible, how much it would cost, the sort of the political blowback. Either way, there is an expectation that could come. So make sure you're watching us. Brennan's going to have that icon terminal. We've got news sources. We'll get that to you. Anything that comes on live, even if it's speculation, is going to move the market. And of course, they decreased their dividend by I think 12%. That was the move yesterday. Actually, a bit of a spike when that happened.
God, I'm probably going to get in here in the pre-market. I don't know if that's going to be a good move or not, but yeah, I'm going to get in. I better cancel this order on Oxy. Tilray right here, we did talk about that, and yeah, today we'll probably be smoking some of the good stuff here as we go, because Tilray looking like it's been going downside, needless to say, today and every day. This is Tilray's daily chart. It's pretty nasty, man. So we Batman right now wondering what the hell's going on as Tilray right now. I'm going to take 100 shares here.
You see this bounce here, Sean, up towards that 2,800 mark on the ES. I got JPM looking like it's making a nice move. 95 was a good level on JPM, and it bounced off on very, very light market volume in the pre-market. So I would have liked to dip into that to try to buy in front of the lows in the future. I don't know that we're going to get it. Breakout, you're picking up 98 with about 3 minutes to go here. Obviously, there's a lot of room for us to travel. That last sort of resistance or support level from way back when was like 103.50. So if we get a rally, it's not as if you can't buy 98 and catch yourself with a nice little win. But I think you're looking at that 95, and you don't necessarily want it to break. That's the level I like on JP Morgan. I think at some point we're going to get a nice turnaround on this one. We tried the rally yesterday. We're sitting basically $4 or $5 from yesterday's highs on this bank. So I actually, there we go. Whatever, we'll hit a slap shot because the Leafs, I don't know, didn't lose as badly. I probably shouldn't even bought. Well, sorry, no, they won 2-1. That's right. Matthews with his 37. But AUYTU, it's going to be story done for me.
Come on.
You get this consolidation but down at 190. I know it's a 180 low, but if you can take a 25-cent win on a $2 stock, sometimes you just got to take it. Maybe it'll move to that 180 mark. I'm not going to use the same level, that 230. Again, we'll wait to see if it tests it. If we make a bottom here at 180, could be an interesting long, but Codex has already worked. AYTU has already worked out. I know INO is going to be in play as well. So you're going to want to track these names because volume and volatility is in them. You're going to be trading a little more actively because of that volume. Some of the bigger names, of course, we're following in the oil market. You're looking at an XOM. You're looking at an Occidental. We also have Apple and AMD that we're going to be tracking as well. I didn't mention AMD yet. It's down slightly, about the same as the market. We just rallied the same way as JPM did. Watch out, 44.40 at the top end here for possible breakout. I had 43.40 as my bottom. That's not the pre-market low.
91. I'm just getting my order set up here for Beyond Meat. We're going to go long through 91. I do want to go long Apple here. Obviously, I love JP Morgan. I'm going to be picking up some in my own account here ASAP. I would have loved for the market to go down, continuing to go down to pick up some, but I think JP Morgan, one of the best long-term investments you could have right now based on what this market is doing. You could pick up some great value there. So I do like JP Morgan. I should have just taken Apple long, when we talked about it, down here at 276 because right now it's at my target of 277.50. So we already are right there, and I do like that call with CGC there. I see on the chat CGC is my favorite, cannabis stock as well. You might as well dance with the big boys if you're going to dance at all. And CGC, of course.
Speaking of big boys there, Sean, Nike, good comment there, Aqua. Nike looks weak. They're down 5%. You're seeing a slide. As we're bouncing here in the futures, in the pre-market, literally no movement whatsoever from Nike, just hanging around these bottoms. I was sort of looking at, we had an 85 pivot that I would like to short off of. And again, if we reject that 2,800, I think this is a good place to park yourself to the short side. I know you guys had a swing trade at 92. You're looking at that 89. That held so well yesterday in the afternoons. That's another reason to like the short in Nike. So we're going to be all over this one as well. 45 seconds to go. One of our production team is actually going to be on the bell today. Good. Lucas, we have a big team here. I know you see myself and Sean, and you see Valerie, and you see Brendan. We have a lot of people that go into this to give you this production. And here comes that 2,800 level on the future. So I feel like the breakouts could come if we can sustain a move through there. I was looking at JPM. I know we're also going to want to make sure we look at that Cloudera.
Yeah, I already have Oxy. I'm going to have Beyond Meat soon. I'm going to have Apple soon, and I'll probably have INO when we do break. But here go the futures, man. This is going to be an exciting day. Only 10 seconds. Lucas, as you said, on the bell today. Not wearing the beanie. What a great little bit of hair he has there. So show that off. I wish I had that. But here we go. 2 seconds.
2,
Ring that bell. 1. And we are
1.
now open. Let's rock and roll. Here, right away to start off the day. Apple already going out. I don't know why that order just went out there, but we'll wait to see on that one. Did not fill, I guess. Apple right now to the upside.
Yeah, and just a quick move through that 2,800 and then come right back. I mean, I've missed some stops myself as well early on there, Sean.
Order types,
JPM tries to take the top off there at 97.90. It's right around that top. I'm looking at Cloudera holding the bottom right now, so I don't think we'll get that 875 breakout. There goes JP Morgan with a quick test through 98. Even comes back and snaps down there. So if we can sustain this move, I just picked some up on that little break. So JP, I liked it at 95. You only got that early in the pre-market. We're going to jump into it. I'm also very quickly looking at that AYTU, which is coming back to the upside. And again, we talked about why I wasn't going to immediately fade into this. I want to see if it tests that 930 area. We are not afraid to jump back in. The volume, 21 million, is going to be worth a look.
Yeah, okay, so we do have Oxy right now. It's coming back down. We just got long at 01s as well. So right now it's at 92. So this is not a great start for this name, but we know this is going to be extremely volatile. So Occidental right now, we're waiting to see if it does break down below this 85-ish area. If that can happen, we will get out of this position. But I do like it to the long side. We'll take some more if we take out the top here. 1316 Oxy right now, long 08s. Not a great spot.
Just watching this ATY, and watching JPM come back a little bit. We like that 95 area. 95.50 was the pre-market bottom. It's hanging around in the mid 97 range. So far, not a ton of action. We come up and down a couple times at 9,800. Brendan, what do you have for us there, bud?
Big mover early, guys, already halted. BKYI, 218% here. Telecommunications company, they inked a $30 million contract over in Africa for some new work, guys.
BKYI. So we're going to look at this halt, and one of the first things I always look for is, hey, what was the price action before that halt? We did make a big move right off the open, 130 to 156. Breakthrough through 150. You hop to the daily chart, you're going to quickly see no key levels to work with to the upside. JPM's coming back up as the futures are cooperating with us through that 98. So that's going to be basically even money. We wouldn't load in until we got back closer to that 95 area. AMD as well, which we were tracking, down around that 43.80 area. It doesn't get you that absolute bottom. Then rocket ship, it just broke the pre-market top. I'm looking at this one on any quick little pullback, see if we can't slip in. We got JPM to the long side, and AYTU is coming back to that 230, so watch out. It just did 4 million shares in the last 10 seconds or so, last minute that I was looking at it.
All right, I had to change my keys over, and just an alert, I know Brendan might have changed them as well. That new key that we had missed everything I tried to punch, so I've never seen anything like that. So we switched back over to some of our new keys.
Didn't have any
we
luck
have
with that either.
a lot, we have a lot of, I don't know. Were you trying to use
yesterday in the afternoon? I should have mentioned.
So.
I had some. I know what you're talking about. So look, your routing keys are important. I missed a massive punch on AMD yesterday on a 44 even break that cost me, a 50, 60 cent win. And this is just going to happen to you sometimes. But we're coming back in off that 2,800, and AMD's hanging around this 44.30 range. When JPM's still hanging same 97.50 area. So the action was to the upside. You got a nice little bounce there. Whoa! There's a rocket ship move on AMD. Crazy. It just broke 44.50. So there we go to the upside.
Yeah, and we got Oxy running right now. We're long 07, so we're
Ollie,
hit a smile on now. Wow, 30 plus pennies on this one right now. Apple, big winner as well, 278.12. But Oxy right now to the upside. Let's get out of some of these as we're running here. 25, 30 pennies right now, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, quick move there. JPM back over that 98. This is the move. We're back over that 2,800. But Brendan, you got something for us?
A new virus-related stock, guys. TLSA up 214%. Talking about vaccine. This thing's moving dollars at a time. Just be careful with this one, guys. TLSA.
Watch out for that one. But there you go, right there. Apple with the move.
We're going to hit the bullseye here. Apple right now, 70 pennies in the money. We talked about taking that one, and now we rein that in. Apple to the upside right now, guys. Long 278.12. That's $1 in the money, and here we go with Apple. Oxy long, Apple long. Let's run this gauntlet right now, guys. Taking some positions out of this. Wow, can't get any better than this, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, and just quickly looking at JPM right back to the upside, but there's the first failure at an upside move in AYTU.
yeah.
This is what I'm waiting for. We just saw it fail at
go.
245. We're going to see if we can't use that level to the downside to work some shorts back in. But it's JPM for me. We just got it up to 98.60. We're still hanging on for dear life. We're going arrows up as the futures are approaching 28.20. We made it to the top side there. So big time moves right now. AMD's not cooperating. JPM looking good, but I got to tell you, once again, AMD every now and then it just seems a little bit slow to the punch. We're pulling back in here. I do still like it in front of 44, so we'll pick up some more shares. Right now we only have 44.40 as our average price. We're coming back into that 44.20 mark.
Right now, Apple is a 70-cent winner and Oxy is 18 cents right now. Only 2 positions on for me, but we're going to watch this Oxy. It's moving around like crazy right now. It goes up and down and around. So we've been cashing some out. My best out was 37s, and now we drop back down here. So watch out. This is why we get out of things. We don't want to hold it for too long here. Some news about Canada, but who cares? Trudeau's not making any big moves. So here we go. Apple to the upside. We're still waiting for some 279 breaks. We did get that up to 279.28. I do think there's some more upside here. In your face, Bank of America. Let's see if we can't keep running this to the upside.
Yeah, why not? We'll go some disco ball action. There's a secondary break in AMD. Sometimes it feels to me like it's just lagging a little bit there. So we get the second break through 44.50. We did buy in that dip at 35. So we're now 30, 40, 35 cents in the money. We took some profits off at this top. I mean, there's the move to the upside that you're talking about, guys. This is what we're doing here. You had some long breaks. If it came to the downside of the market, we had some shorts that we liked, certainly. But if they don't come in, they don't come in. That's fine. You had some stocks you like long. We're still in that JPM in the money. We're also looking upside on AMD, which is deep here. We got 44.36 longs. We love it.
Yeah, we love this right now as well. Apple going $1 now in the money. We explode that. We have Oxy as well. It's the only 2 trades that we have on right now. Oh, there goes my Gilead as well. We don't have that on, but you're going to see that one up another 2+% today in a down market. Gilead up today, 2+%. And yeah, I did get that reference about Handmaid's Tale. Same thing for me, man. My wife was actually on Handmaid's Tale, so there you go.
Nice.
So she had a little cameo there. Okay, Oxy to the upside here. Here we go. Ring the registers, ring the bell. This is a 40-penny winner. Right now, we'll take some off on the upside. Oxy for the win here. We just keep going upside on this one. My biggest position by far as capital goes. And here we go. We are long the oil space. Let's get going on some of these refiners. The oil number coming at 10:30, guys.
Yeah, I'm just scalping a little bit out of this. We made a top here at 44.70, so we're going to take most of our profits off in AMD as the future's stalling out at that pre-market 28.20 level. This is where you might want to take profits if we're going to turn around. So for me, case closed. Move on to the next one. Brendan, what do you got?
Pinduoduo, guys, the name we like to have a look at on the show. PDD here down 2.3%. They reported earnings were actually below expectations. Guidance a problem as well. So PDD coming back, but earnings were a bit of a mess, guys.
Oh, gosh.
Pinduoduo, a name we love to say, but I don't always love to trade. But nice move to the upside, $1.50 move right there on that spike. So maybe worth having a look at. I'm just sort of noting here opportunity here in possibly Cloudera. 875 was sort of the level I was looking at. 864 we just got to. So we talked about earnings and how you're going to follow some of the names that have been more active in the market. We just turned around. Look, we gave you a pivot level. I like the long breakout. Unfortunately, we should have maybe faded this one at that 875 area. It goes to 72. It's already come back down. $48 stock would have given you 20 cents. Again, look, you have to have a bit of a preference and a plan.
Look at
mine happened to be long break, but look at that level. A fantastic one. As we turn around here, I'm sort of forced to maybe think about taking this JPM second half off as well. And we'll go back to it just to review how that went for us. We're not necessarily getting the home run we like. We did get our out here basically at the top. But it is starting to come back down. It's resisting this 28.70 level.
Yeah, hit the air horn because there's Apple, and there we go. Destroyed that one. No doubt about that. Apple long here, 278 even. We would have, again, my order missed at the open, 277.50, so that would have been pretty sweet. But now we are out of Apple, and cheers abound. But even more cheering when we see Brendan Wickens.
INO, guys, we mentioned this one in the pre-market, just broke the pre-market high and immediately halted. So INO halted at the moment, guys, breaking higher.
Oh, damn it! again, I set the wrong order type, and it didn't.
Oh, no, it's fine.
It canceled. It didn't go
So
out. INO.
I can tell you for me why I missed that one. So 737 was the pre-market top. I set it for 740 as well because I like the round numbers like you do. But technically, it's yeah. So I mean, don't worry about it. I mean, it's one of those you're not going to have.
Oh, I worry about too many things anyway.
Definitely. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean by that, there, Sean.
So why
I want to jump.
Halt, though? I guess halted the move because 640 up to 760. We don't just normally get stocks halting within the first 10 minutes, especially when it was already up 20% in the pre-market.
That shouldn't have, yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know if it should have halted, but again, if there's anything special,
cloud error.
The man is over there. So
yeah,
he'll figure that out for us. What kind of names are you guys trading right now?
Let us know.
I'm going to look
Aqua's
back
got
Microsoft
Aqua long on Apple there. So I mean, look, we're looking at that comeback off of 2820, and look, we talked about where you might want to turn around on some of those names, and it's a pre-market high. It's also pre-market level that you saw there in the ES if you're tracking at 2820 or so, and that we just turned around on. So you can't be too shocked. That's where profit taking comes in, which is not an exact science.
Yeah,
you saw me just take out a JPM there in the 50s because of that little turnaround in the market, and we'll look for another spot to get in.
Yeah, we're short Microsoft right now at this day's low. So we're going to run this to the short side, 155.42. And right away, we take 30 pennies. That's how you do it right here live on the show. We take 30 pennies and then 40 pennies out on Microsoft. So boom goes the dynamite. Everything we're touching right now is turning into gold as we go. But here we go right to the downside. Microsoft keeps coming downside here. And man, did we just hit that short right away. 155.40 out 155.09 there. So a quick 30 penny winner. And we have this one on. It's breaking through 155. Mr. Wickeds.
Both INO and CODX. Carrie just mentioning in the chat there, guys, CODX also halted. Both are volatility halts, guys.
Yeah, CODX, you're going to see them move lock and step. And again, I don't love reloading off the open on these ones. So you do get that breakthrough 890. We'll wait for that one to reopen. It's going to be about a couple of minutes or so on the volatility halt. But AYTU, this one's still trading pretty heavily. A bit of a short opportunity at that 230 on the way back down that we basically just wash in and out flat. I didn't necessarily like the short when I saw the other two gapping to the upside. So I take it off, and it's going to be a burn because it is coming back in. And again, sometimes these go lockstep. You see two halting to the upside. You can get out flat. I chose to do so. It's going to look like it's the wrong call, but the level was good at 230. On the way back in after that failure at 245, certainly you jump back in and you're rewarded with it. Futures coming down heavily here to the downside.
Let's go. Yeah. Big moves here in Microsoft. We have this one for you, so congratulations if you have that. We're going to try to find some more here. Futures cracking down a little bit, down 2.5%. So we are going to find out if there's any names pulling back in. Our Oxy's only 11 cents in the money, but we've already taken a lot out of this name, and we only have 10% of our position left. So Oxy right now long, Microsoft short. We're going to look to build in, I think, to some of these shorts. Not sure this is the day to go long or not. We've already crushed Apple to the long side. You've already hit JPM to the long side.
For now, holding up. Yeah, it might be. For now, it's holding this sort of level that we got into, that 97.80 to 99. So we want to see if we sustain this level here while the futures maybe go down, consolidate. That's why you might get back into the long. But other than that, you're looking for short. And we talked about the weakness in Nike. Nike's trying to pull back in, but look at this. That move to the upside, Nike couldn't even get anywhere near these 85 pre-market levels. So the weakness is still there. I'm going to like this one to the short side. As long as we hold that 28.20, I'm going to start working into this one at 84, running into that 85 level on Nike.
Yeah, we're going to also watch out for this Microsoft. We dig in a little bit more here to the short, but the futures now, Microsoft obviously very strong. We noticed this yesterday about Microsoft as well. So taking the short here,
JP.
Good thing we did cash some in.
That 98 level must be good.
Did it? Yeah, we just built the short again here on Microsoft. Took some more there, 156.40. That's right where it's at. You can get it with me. I'm a little nervous about this one. Short Microsoft, long Oxy as the futures, Neil, coming right back to day's high.
Yeah, and I jumped into Nike, just the relative weakness in the name. I do like it. It was a great suggestion. We looked at it yesterday and I actually had forgotten about it a little bit there, but we've jumped in now. I got 83.94. I like that 85 level. If the futures can hold here, I'm going to dig into this short maybe in the 20s and 30s if we get a chance. So we're working to that one. We missed out on that JPM. We talked about the consolidation needed to get back into the long. The futures bounce. JPM just screamed. It was you almost couldn't get it.
Yeah, okay.
And then right back up to that same high. So it can't break 98.70, but it's looking pretty strong so far. So if you like it, JPM looking relatively strong off the open.
Yeah, we talked about JPM, and that was going to be my buy for long term. I think that's a great little look there. We go short Microsoft at the top here. I'm hoping it's the top. It could easily not be, but we're going to see if we can't build some of this position and take it out as we are now short 155.97. We'll wait to see if we get a nice little 156 break to the downside, but that was a nice little move up here in the futures. Obviously, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. You can see this is what we're talking about. So we short Microsoft up here. This is the futures chart, but we're going to see if it can hold up. Looks like Microsoft is still relatively strong today. We noted that yesterday and had to flip over, so we may flip that position over.
And Codex here reopening, and it just made a fresh high again, so you're still seeing it run $10. It just took out to the upside, so Codex making a big time run there. I took my first stab, and with this one, the way it's been moving, forget about 10 cents, forget about 20 cents. You don't know if you're wrong till at least about 50 pennies there, but it's trying to sustain a move again to the upside here through $10. Remember where it came from. Remember, the stock was $24, and even yesterday, 2 days ago, $14 was the top. So watch out. Codex is very, very volatile. But Nike, we'll get you over to that when we grab the short. We love the weakness in Nike, or we hate the weakness, whatever you want to call it. We grab that short when it pops up in the little futures move. We end up with 83.87 as our price, which is okay. We're trending towards that low. I'll take some profits out in front of it if we can get that, and then run this one to the low of the day at 83.
Hey, Ricardo. Yeah, I hope wish you luck as well trading today. Let's just keep hitting some of these names. AMD, Microsoft, INO. I wanted to bring up INO for you guys as well. Neil just talked about Codex, INO up 28. We did see that halt right here. That's why you get a little bit of a gap in our chart. I'm going to wait to see if it takes out $8 today. No idea if it does. We're all the way down here to 740. These coronavirus names tend to be a little wild, but we don't need to tell you that. Brendan, you have another one for us?
Another energy name, guys, doing not so good today. Down 11% here for Noble Energy. NBL just broke that 850 area at the open there on decent volume, coming down to 820 once again. These are big time levels for NBL, guys.
NDL. Okay.
Thanks a lot there, Brennan. And we'll go timber action there on Nike. We do grab that 93.87, or 83. 87 short. We take this out on this little flush. Look, we're able to catch a 50-cent win very quickly. We talked about that low of the day. You want to hold some through, but you got to take some profit off as well. So we'll bag that, see if we can't find another re-entry point. It still looks weak to me. The market holding below 9,800. I mean, all the better if the futures want to come down for us. I think that'll be perfectly fine. We did take a shot here in Codex in front of at that 10 even break. But remember, you got to give it at least 50 cents or so. So we do have 950 as that bottom. When it snapped down and came on the way back up, we get ourselves a price of 88s. I would have liked something in the 70s, a little bit better, but you can't get too picky. My stop is at 950. If it breaks 950, we'll take another stab later.
I just want to bring up Macy's here right now, down 8%, nearing 950. Wow. We'll go short if that happens. Weird Al's twin is telling us to throw it to my twin. What's up, Brendan?
I was trying to think of something, but I couldn't come up with it that quick. DXC, guys, a name that did have news aftermarket yesterday. They're selling their Medicaid service to a private equity fund for $5 billion in cash. Just got flushed off the open there. 18 was a bit of a level in the pre-market, down to about 16.5 for DXC, guys.
Okay, that's a good name, DXC. I think they reported maybe. There was some news about, they did, right, Brendan? Deal, okay. Okay, here goes Microsoft straight to the downside. Sorry about that. Microsoft right now 14 pennies in the money. We held that. We took a beautiful short here, up here, 156.46. Now we're coming down to the downside. Let's see if we can't get hit. I was bidding 81s. It stopped at 84, so there's that one. Macy's breaks down below 950. We do take the short, so let's wait to see where Macy's wants to go today. We do have quite a bit of shares here. This is obviously a struggling retail name. Let's just see what we can do here. If the futures continue to crash, I think Macy's should fall along. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Just reloaded in Nike, got back up to our 84 area, so we're going to take a few more shares. I like this one to the south side. So look, sometimes if you're going to be scalping and you have an overall direction in a trade, what you're going to want to do is take profits off, start getting back in your reload area. You can see us just getting short in front of that 84, and we like it up to about 85 as well. So we're not afraid to jump in at that price as well. Market's starting to come in a little bit. It's not a huge move down, but it's enough to give give you some profits on those shorts that you're taking. So we're back in the money, and this is why you really out on Nike, working out well for us. Codex is hanging out in that range, so I feel like that 950 is probably going to break, and we'll have to reassess. Did pretty good on AYTU. Going to get back to that one in just a bit.
Okay, yeah, and we'll hit a home run right here. Blue Jays back in season. We'll see how many home runs they hit. Probably a lot.
Everyone hits home runs these days.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, everybody does hit home runs. Microsoft right now is a 75-cent winner. We have that one on board for you. We're going to see about taking some out here in the 60s and then watch to see if these futures break lower. I mean, I think Microsoft is going to obviously follow the market. There it is right there, 75-cent winner. So catapulting our net right now as Nike, you're trading Nike, as Microsoft keeps coming to the downside. OXY right now, 24 cents. We are long at 13.01. That's a 24-cent winner long right now. We may take some out, but I'm waiting for that number at 10:30 that I know we'll have, the oil number. So I'm waiting for Oxy to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and it's going to happen. It took a while yesterday, but today we'll cry it off. I don't know. We'll do that one.
Crying off is fine.
Oh, it's the wrong side. It's supposed to be on my side. So we take our first hit of the day. It's going to be on Codex. We took a nice win off the open, or in the pre-market actually, and then we're going to take a hit trying to catch the bounce to the long side there. We do want to watch out for that INO. This was the other one that gave you that halt. So we did reopen. However, it opens up and tries to break. It did break through that top and immediately comes back in. So all these names came back in there. Probably should have been noticing this when Codex had a failed breakout as well. All three I'm watching are now back southbound, and Nike is back southbound as well. So we're going to continue to work this trade. You break that 850 again. You do look at that bottom down around 883.30 or so, and we'll continually take profits off in that range while we're reloading. So Nike, the gift that keeps on giving. The futures.
There it is again. You have a gift. Do we have a gift? Oh, it's a gift horse. But we have something else.
Gift that keeps on giving.
You know what? You know what is tanking right now and creating some pretty sweet pop of wheelies is my boy Macy's right now. Hit the cash. We put on a nice amount of shares here for Macy's, taking that short through 950. It's now at 941. So great little trade there. This is a 10-penny winner right now for Macy's, well, 9 pennies depending on where it goes. We do have a 75-cent winner right now on Microsoft, Macy's, Microsoft, and Oxy. We will show you guys the board in just 1 second once I get it loaded up. I didn't hear. I see Brendan's ready. If we're ready for him, we can throw to him. Yes, we are. Go talk.
Another diagnostics name for you guys. We were talking about CODX there. This is another one. GNMK up 16.5%. Some positive news on them today as well. It came back to 5 there right at the open, all the way up to about 5. Did I say 5? Yeah, 5.5 was the high there, guys.
Okay.
On the way back in here is JPM, and that finally actually sustains through that 98 in this last little move in the futures, but we're still in the money on that Nike. Keeps holding at the 83.50 area. Look, we might need a bit of a longer flush. It's only 20 minutes into the open. We've already reloaded a couple of times and taken some scalps. Macy's. Now we're just hanging on to this one. Look at the retailers get absolutely crushed. Macy's is down, Nike is down, Aqua. I know you're all over that one. Yeah. Good job shorting these. Look, the market tried to make a move to the upside and couldn't sustain it. We're halfway back from that move.
Yeah, let's go, guys. Here we go. We'll update my positions here and throw this on the board for you guys right now to show you what we do have. Macy's right now, it's showing long, but we are obviously not long. We are short. So we're short Macy's, short Microsoft, and long Oxy. All of them in the money. We'll take this off and refresh it. But right here, Macy's to the downside. We're talking about that short 948. You can see that right here on the chart. On that break, bang, bang, bang to the downside right now. Microsoft, here's our short up here, 156.44, coming back down, making its little move back up here. We see the futures, so we're almost out of our Microsoft as it is. And Oxy, we've been long this one and called this one off the open. So hopefully you guys had this one as well. Join us every single day as we just keep dropping the bombs for you guys.
Yeah, it's all about the preparation in the morning. This is how you're going to get some of those levels. Yep, we talked about like JPM before the open. You're going to catch that one. You're going to catch those quick little longs. But I'm finally having another look at that AYTU. It's making another leg, what it looks like to the downside. It's tested 190 a couple of times. If you take a short here and it can't break it, this is where you're going to start to get away from it a little bit. But we'll give it this shot here. We already made some money shorting this one time in the pre-market, and we're jumping in again here around this 215 area. Another quick look at JP Morgan. Wow, man, this one looks like it's going to be a strong one today. I mean, relatively speaking, obviously you're going to be down 2.5%, but it seems like it really does want to hold this 98 area. Every time we flush down, it can't get too much further.
Okay, we're slowly getting out of some of these positions that we do have. I'm dropping some Macy's up here. I think the market may rally here, guys, so we're going to watch out for this. We did, with that logic, we did drop some Microsoft as well. Took out those for winners. So hitting the bullseye, everything today has been a big winner. No losers. Apple, Macy's, Microsoft, Oxy, all well in the money and decent winners today, guys. Brendan.
Immunotech, guys, one of the stronger virus-related names today, had a big move into the close yesterday to the upside, coming back to these highs. 240 up here at the top from yesterday. Just tagged it, bit of a pullback here, but ALT definitely stronger than the rest at this point, guys.
Yeah, definitely going to be worth a look. ALT, we did snag some shares there in JP Morgan.
Nice.
Back down around that 97.80 area. If we can get a move to the upside through that 2,800 again, this is where we like to be picking it up. So, you know, the only short that I feel really, really good about holding is that Nike, I think, because of the overall weakness. But JPM, we're going to keep working into the long every chance we get. Nike, that 85 is going to be the level. You're playing with some house money here, and we do like some entries in the 84 to 84.50 range as well.
970. I think we'll maybe... 960. Now we'll wait. Okay, I just took some more shares short here in Macy's. That's sort of what I'm debating. I just took some more short at 52. So obviously now that it's at 49, it's a good one. I was going to give this till 60. I was wondering about extending that even more, but I'll give this till 960 on Macy's. We just averaged in and took a bit more. We did take some out of Oxy right there at 30. Bounced off 31, 2, 3, 4 times. So we took some off very light on that one right now. Watching this Macy's drop down, we just took 52s. So there you go again. It's just not a psychedelic because of Macy's, but we are right now rocking and rolling down to 47, 48 right now on this.
If they're selling psychedelics at Macy's, that is news to me.
That would be good. I would like that.
Why not? I mean, AYTU, we do jump back into that one in front of that 15. We do have the 13 short. You're going to scalp some of those due to the volume. 40 million shares. Looking for a rush down to that $2 even area. Nike basically holding flat at 84, which is fantastic. I like the fact that it held up in that nice little rally. And JPM as well, holding that 97.80 area. So you do have a couple of names which are holding the fort. I want to jump back to AMD quickly. A lot of strength here, AMD. It continues to hold past those highs. Ignore that wick. This is actually right near the high of the session at 44.91, despite the fact the futures haven't made that high. So we make a run to the top. AMD, we're looking at a 45 break for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And we just picked up Macy's short. And look at this, guys. We just shorted it here. 952. It's at 943. So you want the face slaps and the cash. Here we go. Macy's, great little trade there to the downside. And yeah, your boy getting rewarded right now. Throw the cash everywhere. Macy's out at 42 there, 43s. We're going to keep trying to trade this one to the downside as it's breaking. See if we get 38s again. That'd be nice.
Yeah, and got to watch out. JP Morgan to retest 97 as the market comes back in. So that means if we can get a chance to pick up some Nike, we like it when the market comes down. A bit of a battle being waged in AYTU. So we're using this level at 215 to scalp it for now. We still think we want to hang on to something for a bigger flush. So we'll still give that one a chance. As far as JPM goes, I'm not giving up the ghost until maybe we get past that 97. But I'd like to reload at 95. That was a level this morning that you couldn't get unless you were sitting here, basically pegging that, well before the open, which is not when I'd love to trade JPM.
And I hope that you guys didn't follow me exactly. I mean, I hope you've had every single trade I've had so far today. We're 4 for 4 on all of these names, so it's been perfect day so far. The one thing that we did screw up a little bit, we got out in the 20s there on Microsoft. So ho-hum, we only took 30 penny winner on that one. But we are waiting here. It's now dropping back down 155, so we're going to wait to see on this one. We have very, very light right now on Microsoft. Our Oxy is still hanging up here. I'm hoping I could hold on to this one until about 10:30 when that oil number comes. If we can dip down here again, we may pick some more up, 13.15 or so on Oxy. But here goes Microsoft back up to the upside. So I'm going to put a bid down here again. Low 156s. If we get picked up there, fantastic. But right now, the market seems to be, and this is what I mean, I think it's going to be strong. Normally it would have failed by now, but we will wait to see. Still so much time left here, guys.
Yeah, and I'm getting away from that AYTU. We're able to scalp it pretty successfully, but look at the consolidation it's doing. You're going to wait for that next shoe to drop. It's got to break out of this 220 area to the 205, but you can still make good money in there, 3, 4, 5 pennies if you do have direct market access. I'm going to reload in JP Morgan as we're trying to battle back on that 2,800 area. Nike, however, giving you chances in that 84 range. That's going to be worth a look. We talked about Codex.
Yeah.
It had that halt. It came back in. It's now put in a lower high, and it's retesting that right now. That usually means for me that I want to try to short off of that lower high. However, you want to see it start to go to the downside. Then we'll use that 975, 980 area as a bit of a stop level. And if it holds, I've seen this thing flush, $1, $1.50 or so. So it's a nice win to loss ratio when you take that type of a trade. But you got to see it start to come down before I really, really love it.
76.63.
Is it? Wow, it's almost. It is almost 10 o'clock. I mean, the market is absolutely flying by. Of course, Aqua. We haven't looked at any at Netflix. And it's a name that I feel like we're always neglecting, Sean. I don't know why we neglect Netflix. It's been a strong stock. In terms of, if we're going to bounce to the upside, actually test some highs, I don't mind that to the long side. They're not sure why I don't see it on my quote board. But we'll see if we can't get to that. And there we go, Netflix.
And there goes Macy.
If it'll load, hanging around the bottom here, with the market trying to bounce. So Netflix, oddly enough, looking a little bit weak.
Yes, and no, Netflix looking weak, yeah. Well, you know what, I mean, with this market.
No, just this morning, I mean like literally right now.
Yeah. Netflix is a strong name, and we talked about that for coronavirus. And Macy's right now back down to 942 there. We just cashed some out, so that was at 943. We got some out there out of our 52 short. So right now, Macy's nicely in the money for us. And again, decent amount of shares. When you're trading sub $10 stocks and stocks that will move maybe 10, 20 pennies, you up your shares. You don't sit here and trade, that's the thing. If you're taking 1,000 shares of this, maybe a 10-cent move may be good for you. We do talk about risk management all of the time, so we're taking more shares in some of these lower price names, not so much in Microsoft's or whatever. Unless you get a decent break, I think it's very important right now that you limit the share size on some of these more exciting moving names. Unless you get some sort of a key technical break or something, we're not putting on many shares.
You can also double dip. I mean, you can have a breakout type of idea and a core position that you want to hold longer. And it's sort of like, trading two styles at once. So you take a certain amount of shares, maybe you hold 20% of it for the bigger move, and then you're scalping part of it. I think that's one thing I like in my playbook from time to time. Netflix, you just mentioned there. Look, this 356, I like that. I like this short because you just basically dip down below what was previously a support level. So that looks pretty good there. I mean, in terms of a day trade, a short-term trade, good look there, Aqua. I wasn't really looking at Netflix. It's now sort of firmly on the radar.
Netflix is a great stock to trade. Thank you for that update as well. We did go long here. Microsoft coming back in a little bit right now. So we're going to have to wait to see if this does break through 156. We took it when it broke through this VWAP, but now fading back in. We do have a great segment. Here we go. Put Microsoft up here.
We are ready.
Right now. Yeah, we are ready for the big screen. This is happening now, and where we get to see a little bit of action in possibly some other markets.
30 minutes in the books, guys. Let's have a look at North American markets here. You're going to see red numbers once again. We are back to the downside, however, off the lows. So 2.6% now for the S&P. We were down more than 3% when last we spoke. The Dow, unfortunately, still kind of holding on to that 3% move to the downside. NASDAQ tech stocks are doing quite well this morning, bouncing a little bit as well. Small caps, the Russell, not so good as either, 2.9% to the downside for the Russell. You can see still in negative territory. Here in Toronto, the TSX a little bit better off, 1.8% in negative territory. The BOVESPA, we mentioned this morning, 2.3%. Talked to Mark Webb at XP Investments about some key levels this morning if you joined us at 9 o'clock for the BOVESPA if you're trading down in Brazil. Let's have a look at some individual stocks moving around here in Toronto. I would love to show you some, Robbie, but my tablet is not working once again. So have a look at cannabis names. Cannabis names kind of gapping higher, but coming back to the downside. TGOD, though, the green organic Dutchman, reporting earnings, so they are to the downside as well. But other than that, energy stocks kind of bouncing. Mining stocks are under pressure as well, guys. Pretty red right across the board. Back over to you guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Brendan. Just worth noting, one of that little bounce we had 10 minutes ago off of the little drop in the futures, IWM bounced off a key 128 area just now. So look for that. We'll see if it can sustain any kind of a push in the market, and maybe that'll take us through the top. But it is also that time of the day.
Thank you, Valeria.
Sean. Thank you very much. Valeria,
much.
we get that little
Cheers.
reload. The cup of Joe.
Let's get refreshed here and see if
let's
we
reload
can,
some things here.
Make some more magic happen. 8 cents in the money right now for Macy's. We did bust out long on Microsoft, so we were hitting that one and taking the profits. What a great trade that's turned out to be. But now we fade right back down. So Microsoft, we're long 156.64 right now.
Bye-bye Codex. Codex does take the top off. And again, this is why I talked about that retracement short. You're only taking it, in my opinion, if it comes back in. You see it retest that level. It's got to slide. It did not do that, but the reversal was there if you caught that break. $11 we're headed towards now. Probably looking at a halt at some point. It's worth, when you see this happening, checking over on INO, which is still holding the bottom. So watch out for this 740 level. I think if the 740 goes again, it'll be worth a bit of a long. So I'm going to get an order ready to go using a better stop here. I'll use it go back to NASDAQ scan, I think, and see if we can't get a 741 break on INO if it wants to have a little sympathy rally action.
Yeah, I switched back to that as well. Oh, INO. Yeah, I was actually just looking at that myself and thinking to myself about this $8 level. So we'll wait to see if that does happen. I know Neil's going to be dipping in a little bit earlier than that, which is all good. Microsoft right here, we did dump some right there. We just have very little right now. 30% of our position left, already cashed out 70 up here, so that was pretty nice. We're going to take a little bit of a long if it does come back into the 30s here on Microsoft, and then dump it if we do. There we go, we just got long there. Like I just mentioned there, into the 30s, we picked up that. Actually, no, it was 43, not 33. So we pick up some long there at 43. We're going to wait to see if it breaks down through 156. That'll probably be the spot that we get out of our Microsoft. That's when we know we're wrong on Microsoft if it comes all the way back down.
Yeah, and just quickly looking at that bounce down in Codex, it goes to 11, snaps back to the downside. So I'm still looking for basically the same pattern here. And you don't know at what point in the day you're going to see it, but you're just looking for a failure. You're looking for a consolidation area, and then you want it to try and retest that, and then that's when I'm going to jump into the short. I don't want to do it too early because these stocks can run. I've seen them run all morning long, multiple halts, and then the great short, like in AYTU, was literally, I think it was like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You just had to be patient with it. So we're going to try to do that ourselves in AYTU. Speaking of it, I know I've gotten away from it. That last short did work out. But when these other ones run, so I like to back off when a key level breaks. So when that 215 broke, you're going to flat that trade for me, thinking the downside's going to get a little too ugly. We'll jump back in for that same level, 220, now that things have calmed down in Codex a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. You can trade these names for breakouts. You can trade them just trading them. They do bounce off key levels all the time. So, we're looking to pick up a little bit more of Microsoft down here in the 20s and 30s. Like I mentioned, if we can get that, that would be fantastic. But right now, we are long. We just picked up Microsoft right there at 41. It's at 65 right now, so there's a nice little 20, 30 penny winner. I like to scalp in and out of some of these positions, but not this one. We're going to wait till we get back into the 80s. Here we go. Look at that, guys. We pick up Microsoft, drop our jaw down right there. Microsoft, a nice little 40 penny winner off that last little pickup. Let's see if we can get back up over 157. Futures making the move to the top side. Let's see if we can't get going right now on Mr. Soft.
Yeah, and about to break the top off there is AMD. And we talked about how strong it has been, relatively speaking. You're seeing almost no pullbacks in store. 45 still hasn't really broken. You can see this top it's trying to make at 44.95. If it takes this one out, we do like the opportunity to grab this one. Still working with Nike in the same range here. It's at that 84 to 84.50 range. So as long as we're going to be holding this level, it's that 85 that we're looking at. I think that's the level that you're going to play off with. You're playing with house money here. JP Morgan, again, is just bouncing around 97. That's basically where we have it at 97.31. So market comes up. We have that to the long side, and we have the short and Nike sort of balancing things out in a relatively weak name. But I'm going to be adding AMD here. Positive to negative. So negative to positive will be at 45.38. Hopefully get the 45 break. We can scalp some in front of that previous close and then see if we can continue the move. But I want to see 28.15s go. That's when you know you have home runs to the long side.
Yeah, okay. Just looking to see what the hell's happening with Oxy right here. Big move down.
A little early.
Again, we're holding like 5% of our position, so it's NBD. But Oxy right now, I'm looking to pick some more up. That's the point. So we're going to wait to see here what this is doing. It just dropped basically off a cliff here from 13.20. Remember we were talking about it just chilling out right here. Once it broke down this level, oil's not moving. Good
oil's
point,
doing
Neil.
nothing.
We're talking back and forth here.
As it shouldn't be. I mean, realistically, look, we know the numbers coming at 23. We see usually consolidation going into it. That's what I would expect to see when I pull up the chart. So nothing to see here. Well, Brendan, what do you have for us there?
A little natural gas name, guys, that reported earnings aftermarket yesterday. CLNE. This is clean energy, down 24%. Just made a new low on the day, breaking 155. Earnings were actually not bad, but natural gas making a move to the downside. downside. Inventories or storage capacity actually tomorrow for natural gas, guys.
So I mean, look, I went to the oil chart. I mean, I see Oxy falling to the downside. We just looked at all, nothing happening, and then I see XOM making a bottom, opening range low, 41.90. I mean, look, if I can take a long in front of it when I see, look, I know at 23 minutes, obviously we're going to have to reassess our positions here, but I'll take a shot here, jump in. We just got AMD to the long side on the breakout to 45, so market is continuing to rush towards the upside there. So long JPM, long AMD, long now XOM based on that flush that made no sense to me. So I will pick that one up at 42.11.
Yep.
We got the bottom of that range, 41.90, which is fine. We also have a time deadline on this trade at 10:30 as well.
Yeah,
so
we're waiting for 10:30. And here goes Softy. This is once again, come on, let's go long 156.48, and there we go. Cash that out, guys. That's a 58 penny winner right there. We still have it. Thank you to Valeria for our coffee, because maybe that gave this one a little bit of a boost. Right now, Microsoft to the top side, 156.48. We're long. We just cashed them out there, 92s. Let's see if we can't get this one back above 157 as the futures are going. We did pick up some Oxy, though, at 70. Not Oxycontin, of course. Some Occidental down here. Maybe we might need some of the other stuff. 1268. Here is the bottom. We're waiting for this 1260 bottom here. I will take another little stab long here as Microsoft breaks above 157. This is a 70 now penny winner. We've been giving these to you every single day, and once again, today is no different. Here we go to the upside, 157 and change for Microsoft as the future is trying to
quick little break in INO, trying to make a move to its upside as well. That 790 is going to be the top. I triggered and we talked about 740. This is a run before the high of the day, so you're probably more or less scalping this one into that 790 area, but we did get that break. AMD comes back to that 45 even area. JPM basically holding flat. We do like it, but XOM making a bounce off of that, whatever you want to call it, move to the downside there in Oxy when we're just seeing nothing happen in oil futures. But here goes INO. And again, look, there's nothing wrong with waiting for the break at the top. But once I see this violate, if the other names are moving to the upside, usually I'd be fading that price break, but once it breaks up, we'll take it to the long side. Why not? We'll go to the moon on this one. I'm looking to scalp it off in 3 pieces in front of that 790 high. First leg there in the mid 750s, and then we'll see if we can't take some in the 60s, and then maybe in the 80s or so. So that long working out. AMD's in the money on the 45 break as well. JPM bouncing to the upside, of course. We're back above 2,800. So of course, it just means we're going to be sliding to the upside. All my longs are working. It's Nike I have to watch out for. Of course, that's the one I like to the short side. I talked about 85 as my level. I haven't actually added to it from 84. I should probably get to that now. There's no way I'm going to be holding this one without looking to add to it.
Right.
Still in front of that 28.15 on the ES, which I mentioned. Again, if that breaks or 85 goes, that's my out. It has not broken, and I have a chance to get a better price. I will go ahead and do that in Nike.
What is this, Microsoft? So right now we're in a 70 penny winner on Softy right now. So that is a good one. Here we go. Microsoft 70, 80 pennies right now. 90 pennies. We're going to the upside here on Microsoft, breaking these new day highs here on Softy. We're going to see what happens, I guess, if this wick is true. We did get as high as 157.50 before, but we're going to wait here in the 20s, see if we can't take out this for a 90-cent winner on Microsoft. We've dug in a little bit here to Oxy. We did take another long at 67. So we're going to wait to see on that one. It's moving around like crazy. We are ready for upgrades and downgrades, though, with Mr. Wickens at the big screen.
Hey guys, let's have a look at a couple of names that were both upgraded to the downside as well. I want to point out here, but first off, let's go to the upgrade side into it here. Still in negative territory, 2.5%, but that is well off the lows, catching an upgrade today. There's Eli Lilly. We mentioned it a little bit in the pre-market, just went positive. New Star Energy and Spirit Aerosystems. There's American. AAL Airlines back to the downside today. They were among the leaders yesterday that we saw moving higher, but 5.6% back to the downside for American. Ford, MasterCard, Walmart as well catching a downgrade today. 1.7% to the downside for Walmart so far. LLY back to positive territory on the day. Just went green. In fact, I think it was 141 and change. Above that, we were positive, but did get a bit of a flush off of the open to the downside for LLY, even with the downgrade today. AA, or the upgrade, I should say. This one got downgraded. AAL gapping down, in fact, after after this huge run up. This is what I was talking about. Huge move to the upside yesterday, right across this entire group. AAL among the leaders, back to the downside today. But look at this, holding 16 now as support, back to 16.20 for American Airlines, guys. So even the airlines showing some strength at this point. Back to you.
Too.
Yeah, I mean, it's Oxy. No, it was XOM that I jumped into, and welcome, Code Breaker. Hopefully we'll crack the code for the markets for you on a regular basis here, but that little bounce that we see in both Oxy and XOM, again, nothing was happening in oil futures when you saw that slide to the downside, so that gives you some confidence to pick that one up. Certainly, I know it did for me. INO continued to work upside for us. JPM, we're able to take that one off while Brendan was doing the upgrades and downgrades. We catch the bounce on JP Morgan. We missed the reload at the absolute bottom there, but as it holds VWAP, we take a couple of legs out on JP Morgan's. It gets back to that magical $98 area where there's been some consolidation. AMD's failing right now through that 45. So we are long one shot here at that exact 45 area. It did not quite get even to 20s, so obviously didn't test the previous close of 45.38. INO is the other name we have to the upside here, that 740 break. It got about 15-20 cents in the money, basically holding flat. And Nike, we have 84.20. That's back down to 84.20. So it's holding up. Nike is holding up so well. Every single time this market comes to the upside, look at it basically holding these pre-market levels. I like where we're positioned here. You do see that 84.65. That's the opening range high. And I think reasonably speaking here, at least some of our shares we should take off if it breaks out. I've seen breakout through that price, and this is a time of day we have to consider it.
Yeah, and we're going to put up our position board right now just to show you guys what we do have, and it's a big one right now. You can see Oxy, we picked up some, so we are loaded up right now of Oxy. That's 9 cents right now, 10 cents in the money right now. Microsoft is 60 cents in the money right now. And our Macy's, we basically don't have any. That is flat, so we're going to drop our Macy's. Now it's a 2-penny winner, but here we go, guys. That's the positions I have on 3 right now. Oxy, look at this chart.
There we go.
We pick some up down here, 12.60, guys.
I love it. We'll throw fireworks for that. It was simple. You guys were following along. You saw what happened. There was if I had seen a tank in the price of oil, that's one thing. We didn't see a thing, which is anticipated heading into that number in 15 minutes. You were able to pick bottoms here, even with a great support level on XOM at 42 even and 41.90. So we're able to pick it up at 11s. We've already taken a couple legs off in front of VWAP. If we can sustain this move through that 42.50, maybe we look for a target 10-15 cents higher than that. However, you do have a time horizon on this trade. At least I do. I'm not going to be sitting here running it into the number. Not for me. The reason I took the trade was a slide and Occidental. Bottoms here, no move in oil. That's why we picked this one up. I like the long relative to the space in XOM. Yeah,
I've got you on that one. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oxy right here, just making sure. There we go. Taking some out of Macy's. It just doesn't seem to want to go right now, so we will take some of that out. And by the way, Oxy right now, back down. We just did take some more out. We talked about that. We just got out at 79. We got out at 77. Our long right now, 66. So needless to say, guys, we are running the cash this morning. We traded Apple, Macy's, Microsoft, and Oxy. All 4 are winners. Some to the short side, some to the long side. So let's keep this train rolling as we continue to make cash for you guys. Welcome to everybody on the show, Codebreaker. Nice to have you as well. Make sure you keep chatting, guys. Put some comments in there. Where are you guys from? We'd like to know where our audience is from, and Valeria will be attending to that as well.
And just quick look over there at INO. You can see on the chart we got that nice little breakout. Has not really tested lower. You can see it holding well above that VWAP. So we're going to run this one, like I mentioned, into that 790. We just took another leg out there in the mid 60s. Still holding on to a third of our position. The only thing not cooperating, is the futures are still above 2,800. We're not testing that 28.15 high. We just failed at 10s, and that AMD is basically holding flat. But everything else working out for us. I do have Nike still to the short side, which it just looks so weak, and it has all morning long. You get this little flush in the market, we'll start to take some profits off on that.
Yeah, no doubt. Microsoft was nicely in the money there. We were talking about it 40 cents in the money, but now you're seeing this pressure coming through on the ES, and it's nothing really. I mean, it used to be a decent move when we used to move 7-8 handles. Now it's just called chop. So we will wait to see, can you break out through 28.10? That'd be pretty sweet. If not, watch out for 29. What is this? 27.98, which we're approaching that right now. Microsoft, I'm going to get out of a little bit of this. If we can get back near 156, we'll try that to our luck. There goes Oxy, Neil. This is a 30-penny winner right now. So you want to, this is not something that we expected. Oxy straight to the upside now. 22 pennies. Let's go. The nets are booming here today, guys.
Yeah, I'll do what Sean did. We'll update our positions. Usually I don't have 4 or 5 on at this time, but we're going to throw it up here. We do have that XOM as well. No, it does not come up, so unfortunately, we're not going to give you. I'll verbally do it for you. AMD, we're still long at 45 even. That's basically flat. We do have that INO long. That's in the money at 740, and XOM 42.11. That's in the money 25 cents off that little bounce. And again, 12 minutes until that oil number, so you got to watch that one very, very closely. But I think we have something from our chat maestra, Valeria.
Thanks, Neil, and hey guys, welcome to everyone who just joined us. It's the best trading live show on the YouTube. Well, Neil, Brandon, and Sean are super pros in day trading. They have experience of more than 17 years in this sphere, but we are relatively young and new on the YouTube, so that's why please hit the thumbs up and subscribe for our show so more people know about us and we have a great community. Back to traders.
It's all about that community, baby. Let's get going.
It's all about falling off the edge of the earth. And look, it's nothing against Nike. I mean, it's just simply you look at the price action and what it's been doing the last couple of days. You see what happened when we got that nice bounce in the futures all the way up in the pre-market, all the way to that 50 handle move to 28.15. And Nike just resisted, and it's been weak for a couple of days now. So we do get that reload off of that opening range high, which is my new stop. We were able to take some out at VWAP there, so a nice reload at 84.50 would take some out there in front of 84. I would like to see another flush down to our previous target areas, which are getting some 83.40s, 83.50s. I'd love to get those. XOM still working in the money with 10 minutes to go here. AMD just holding flat. It was such a good high flyer. Now I'm basically sitting here doing nothing for me.
Oh man, yeah. Keep chatting, guys. We're looking for the questions. We're looking for what stocks you guys are trading as well. Oxy trying to make this move up here. We're waiting at 86 is where we got out last time. So here it comes right now. This is a 22 penny winner. So that one is nice. We are ready now for some names that we probably, looks like we didn't miss some of these names, but we're going to review some of the small cap names here with Brendan at the big screen.
Now we'll have a look at a few of the virus names today. Amazing opportunities if you were looking to the long side after such great opportunities on the short side yesterday. Pretty hard to be looking on the positive side, especially with this one, CODX. Such a great short yesterday, just kept going. It was hard not to, kind of try this again with the gap higher this morning. It did give you a little bit of a break in the pre-market. There was a clear buyer at 790 that kept refreshing and refreshing and refreshing, and then wow, yeah, through the high all the way up to 12 bucks almost for CODX. Anyone caught that on the long side? Congratulations, great trade. INO, another one we mentioned in the pre-market. Same story. This one really never broke the pre-market low to the downside. Did give you a bit of a flush there, but had to be really quick, and then took the top out. We mentioned halted on the way up as well. That one also with news this morning. I wanted to mention AYTU, big crazy one. Look at that break to the downside just happening here, guys, in AYTU. Big crazy mover in the afternoon yesterday. We're consolidating, I should say, around this $2 area. Just finally got taken out there all the way down to about 150. For AYTU. So another one giving you opportunities back to the downside today, guys. Let's a look at some small cap names. Back over to you.
Thank you, Brendan. And if you're following along, Aqua, great job. We've been looking at this Nike for 2 days now. You get that nice little move coming back in on 2,800, and Nike, I guess, is going to slide down to those bottom, down 5%. We have 84.35. Of course, remember, that's just a blended price there. Our last entry at 84.50. We're shorting heavily at the 84 range. As we slide down towards the bottom, which I'm seeing right now, I take off that AMD position. Look, if it's not going to do anything on that 45 break, and we're going to come back in off of that 28.10 level, you can't just sit there hang on to it. Just get out for a small loss and then live to fight another day. We have a good short on in Nike. We can work with that. When we just took some shares out there at 83.85. So you take 70 cents on that trade and you're perfectly happy with it. The only long I still have on is we're 9 minutes from the number is going to be that XOM position. And again, that was sort of a different story. You were buying it off of the low. It made no sense to me, the drop that we just had over when I was looking at Oxy. So we picked this one up in front of the low of the day. I'm not gonna allow this one to either run past 1030. And Greg, you mentioned how my position going in. I'm going to be flat going into the old number. That's my plan. I want to react afterwards. Usually you get some whip action, then a trend can set up. That's what I would rather be playing. So you'll see me have this position off in XOM, probably whether we break 42 or whether we get to 1030. Either one of those two things can be the reason I get out.
Yeah, here's a little tease, guys. The trade of the day will be Oxy, and right now we're going to hold it until, like Neil just said, 1030. We'll see what happens. We're pretty light now on it, about 10% only of our position. We'll go longer if it takes out this 1290, but for right now, we're going to hold this spot and wait to see what happens when that oil number does come out in approximately 8 minutes. That's why we took this all out. Look at this. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang. Lots of longs, lots of great trades happening right now in Oxy. Yes, get those double barrels out. You can see right now 1277 right now on Oxy. We're going to hold that till the end, guys.
Yeah, and I just got that. Like I said, we just tucked some more shares out there, and we're just going to work our way through this position. You see a few legs here every 20 cents or so as we load it up at that 84.50 area on Nike, and we talked about how we like doing it. Now, the only change that we've made here, if you're following along here, we love it, Cobra. Get in there, Eric. We do love to see all of your input and anything you guys are looking at. I have moved my stop on Nike from that 85. I like this 84.65 better. You get that opening range trade as well. So I'm not saying I reverse long. It's too weak. I don't like that long, but I will move my stop to the downside once you start taking profits. Again, if the futures take out this 28.15, and you run that stop, even if you like it to the short side, you have to still walk away from it at that point, I think, unless you're doing a longer term swing trade.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see you, Eric. Hopefully you'll join us again tomorrow there. Very important for us. Oh, wow, look at Macy's. We still have this, but we don't have that many shares, but we'll throw the cash anyways. That's why I didn't notice this one. Macy's right now at its low. We've been absolutely crushing this one today. Short, short. Now we come right back down to where we got out before. I think we'll put an order out right now and capture this 14 penny winner right now on Macy's as it just continues to move southbound here when the futures really aren't doing anything. So I'm really glad that we're able to identify Macy's as well.
Yeah, Sean, it's good that you mentioned that. So as much as you're getting a trend off the open here, you're getting these muted pullbacks. And the Qs, NQ, you're only talking 40, 50 handles to back to the downside. And we need to retest that high to get us any juice here. And we're talking about that 82.20 or that 28.15. But Brendan, what do you have for us?
A little gaming stock, guys. IGT to the downside today, 14%. Jeffries reducing their outlook on this one. So nice little move off of the open here, all the way down to 640. Started about $1 higher on the day, guys.
Okay, $1 higher there. Microsoft
5 minutes to go.
Down below 156. So we drop our Microsoft, and that was a bullseye. We only held 10%, and we watched that one. Here we go. We'll put the chart up for you guys. We watched this one fall back down and just take them all out here, each about a 10% spot. Then we get out, and now coming to the south side, which is a great news for us. Our Macy's trade is now 20 pennies in the money. We'll see here on this reload of 53, now down to 34, soon to be 20 pennies when it hits 33. But here goes Microsoft. The market now, guys, we talked about that magical number, and it's not magic at all, but 27.87. Yep. That was this kind of low. We're touching off that. Let's see if we continue to break lower. I don't even want to put on a serious position until that oil number comes out, Neil. So I'm going to be hands off a little bit until that time.
As you mentioned, I was just sort of looking at the board here, and a bit of a spike there. We got back above that $34 a barrel mark there. So, you know, we're still in a basically tight range. We jump up there and we don't move more than 10 ticks. So it is what it is. I know we're going to slow down going into this last 4 minutes. You do see the range that was sitting there broken off of the morning. So, and it's to the upside. I do still have that XOM, and I am going to take this one off probably going into the number. It's basically now flat. I suppose it's only a small amount left. I could just hold it in front of 42 even, which I'm leaning to, given the fact that we just spiked up. If we get spiked down, I'd be less confident to do that. But before we get that in just about 4 minutes, I want to get you guys back to that AYTU. I know it's a big mover. It's on 50 million in volume. And I have no excuse for how we managed to miss this one, guys. I don't know what it is. Timber action, great flush through $2. And again, we were shorting this one. Got away from it when Kodak started to run.
Right.
But this one flushed through that $2 mark. We were shorting it all morning long. We didn't have it on when it gave you this 40-cent move. Apologies there. This was a great stock. It was fantastic all afternoon yesterday. It's going to continue to be a good one. It did pop back up, and I think we'll try shorting it in front of that 2 even. Might give you a shot here at 190, 195 or so.
Yeah, I see OXY right now, a 20-plus penny winner for me. We'll wait for that number to come out. We talked about it's going to be coming out in 3 minutes, and Brendan will have that live for us. We use the Icon terminal here.
Yep, good note.
So that's pretty cool through Refinitiv. We also do have a news feeder built into our software, also from Refinitiv. So we'll hit that number as soon as it comes out. And again, I'm not going to trade oil or anything like that. What I'm looking to do on that is to see what does happen to the OXY position. I do like that position, and also the market in general. So we're going to wait for oil. Normally, I don't care too much what's happening in the oil
Got
space,
to now. We got a price war, right?
Today, they're giving you no choice. And oil down 25% on Monday, and then yesterday bounced back 11%. So we'll see on this one. We did get a question about Tilray, so we'll do a little bit of where's my weed, Batman? There it is. Tilray only 760,000 shares so far today. Bounced beautifully through this 1 minute VWAP right here, but now came to the upside. Really muted, man. I mean, I'm surprised they're up today, but they are cannabis names. We talked about, someone mentioned CGC being one of their favorites, Neil, and just want to check it out, and I'll throw over to you in 1 second. CGC, okay, they're down 1%, so cannabis space muted.
I was trying to find something to show off Nikes. I don't know what kind of shoes we're wearing in the Missed the Boat, but I'm going to run. I missed the boat on AYTU, so it's going to...
Yeah, that one's
Those aren't Nikes.
Shoes.
Those are gangster, but either way, Nike, we're shorting it anyway, so I guess it shouldn't be Nikes on my on my feet there. Nike making another move to the downside. You see that little pop and try to make through 84. Look, I'm going to see this, watch it test this 83.50 here, and then take some more off. We just got a dollar winner on that position. Again, we've been holding a core position short in Nike the entire time, while simultaneously scalping. And we sort of talked about why you want to do this, but there's a move to, there we go, in the futures, breaking at 27.90. Nice little flush. All I have is XOM, small position left, and again, going into that number in a minute. And then the Nike short, which has been fantastic. Find something weak that you believe in. It allows you to sustain that position through what can be a bit of a bounce up in the futures. For me, it was Nike. Good look there, Aqua. I'm sure you still got it on.
Aqua, nice one. Yeah, I like that name. The one name that we talked about here, the hands made tail name here, Gilead. Straight to the upside. I gave this to you guys down here at 73 and change. Again, I don't take it. So that's, man, I got to start taking this stock. That was a big fail. 73.10 busting to the upside here. 1 minute into oil. I see Brendan over at the big screen. We'll throw to him in just a couple seconds to see what does come through with oil. But right now, Gilead is probably the strongest name that I can see out there right now based on the price.
Yeah, it's looking like it.
Yeah, that's not one of those crazy coronavirus.
Yeah, you don't count those.
Yeah, we're not counting those ones. Those ones are blowing up, of course. INO 31%. You've talked about those in depth today, so those are all good. We'll take a look at RCL and CCL when we come back. But for now,
let's get that
Brendan's getting patiently waiting for this number, so let's see what he has to say.
Going to be an important number to have a look at today, guys, with the crazy price action that we had back on Monday. We had a big move to the downside, so we're going to have a look at the inventories number coming out in about 20 seconds here. The expectation, a 2.2 million barrel build. I checked out the API number that came out after market yesterday. That was looking for a 6 million barrel build. So 10 seconds to go here. If you're wondering, it's the K contract. If you're looking or using the PPRO 8 system, K contract for crude oil. Here we go, 2-1, 7.6, so bigger than expected build for crude, guys. API was looking for 6, expectation 2, comes out a huge 7.6 million barrel build, guys.
Just not good. And we came back below that 34 briefly. I just took out that X1 position. Thankfully, you're long in front of a support level, and I'll jump to the futures contract for you guys to see. And again, we get that nice little move down. I think what gave you the juice to maybe hold into it and quickly get out was this little bounce that we had upside above 34. So that allowed me to end up getting just under flat on that position. But you are seeing a slide, and with that number, futures coming down to 27.80, Nike coming down to its lows. And again, we've been hanging on for dear life in this short in Nike. We are now $1.20 in the money without breaking. Forget about the actual low in the pre-market. We haven't even broken the opening range low, which is 83.25. So let's ride this one to see what can happen. Look, 83 level is going to be it for me. I think you'll get some re-entry points there because you have support in the futures 12 handles away from here. So we'll be out in front of that for a monster winner here on Nike. I love it. Aqua, thanks for the assist on that one. I mean, it's one of those We were talking about it yesterday, and then you bring it up. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. We like Nike to the south side. Let's see if we can't work into it.
Sometimes that's what we're asking for.
Too many symbols.
Yeah, it's not that we're asking for help on any of these things. Just let us know what you're trading. Maybe we'll have some ideas as well. And as a team, we can all pick some up and win here today as well. So Oxy there, that move, I guess expecting 6, getting 7. Not huge difference. I'm not seeing that much of a move in oil at all.
Barely.
Barely a move here. I can call this up for you guys right here. Here's the oil chart. You can see a nice little move, and again, I apologize not making these bigger, but I'll tell you the prices. 33.70 was up here at the top. We now fade back. These are these minute charts. We're coming down only 20 cents a barrel. Now we're looking to make some moves down lower. If we can break 32.90, basically $33, which is all the way down here, oil could be in a little bit of trouble if that does happen. We're only down 3% today on oil, so kind of a nothing burger number, but the stocks are acting accordingly. Not enough for me to jump into anything though right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. I want to jump over to Uber, which is one that we said we would try to get involved in, but whippy action off the open, and then it has been, as you like to say it, Sean, a nothing burger. I got a big time nothing burger on Uber. It's down 5%, but not really seeing anything. 50 penny range that it's just basically cruising through, now riding on the low. So I guess you can watch out for this one in case we break lower in the futures, and you're watching that 27.45 bottom, and if it does get a base out here, you can have a scalp maybe of 20 or 30 cents up to VWAP. If that excites you, there's nothing wrong with that. So, you can look at that bottom, maybe use it as we're trying to get back up in the futures. But like you said, oil, 20 points down there, it's not really a heck of a lot there. So I'm not too afraid of, I'm not saying it's not about being afraid or not. I'm just not really, I got shook out of that XOM trade. Maybe that was a little hasty.
We got to find the right
stuff. Probably a bit hasty.
That's what we
could have held on to it.
Okay, we're going to wait here, possibly on this Microsoft. We've been trading it super great today and the last couple days. We just take another short right now, 78. We average in. So on that oil number, we get triggered in right here at day's low, 155.22. We do take this here, 155.78. Our average price right now, 48. So we're right back into the money now on Microsoft. Well, close enough to into the money on Microsoft. We'll probably give it to this VWAP, 156.20, 156.50 or so on the upside. But right now, Microsoft will continue to average into this one. I think the play maybe to the downside now as oil is approaching that $33 level. So let's just short in front of some of these VWAP spots here on Microsoft. It's kind of this little break spot right here, 156.20 is where we're seeing if we can get back to. If not, we'll dump that. But our Macy's right now continues to all-time lows. I should double check that's probably not all-time lows on Macy's, but we give the thumbs up to that. Sorry for anyone who's holding this brick and mortar company, but look, you sell luxury goods at full price, and you don't have much of an online look. I mean, I don't know. Let's check out let me check out a daily chart just so.
Oh, you don't want to? Don't do that.
People
I can't.
Just in case people don't know, man. We've been trading Macy's for quite a long time, and
give me some warning or something.
I'm gonna
when like it's been dark for like an hour and someone turns the lights on. That's what happens when you throw that up there.
That's just. We need to fix that. Okay, back to my screen, guys, if we can. It broke this 50-period moving average on the daily chart. That was see you later. We talked to Mark Roberts about that from Catone & Company. That was $16. And guess what, guys? That was less than a month ago. This name was at $16. Macy's all the way down now to 9.25. So that puke chart was that puking action was probably appropriate. But
you wouldn't have to have that pukey again, would you?
Own those shares.
I'll go arrows down. You want to know why the Dow is sliding?
Yes.
Boeing.
Yes.
Apple's been sliding too. Boeing is down 10%. We're getting awfully close to 200 even.
Oh, there
Sean.
it is. They're
200 even withdrawing. Yeah, there you go.
Drawing a loan there as early as Friday. Draw down. Sorry.
Bye-bye.
They got a loan. I think Brendan's going to come with this news. Is that correct, Brendan? Yes. So let's throw it over to Brendan. He's ready.
Yeah, it was just. I mean, you basically nailed it there. The loan being pulled off the table. So 13.8 billion, I believe it was, being pulled off the table for Boeing. So that was the news on that. Wanted to mention this one as well, guys. Another one of the virus stocks. OPK really strong, just blasted up to 190 on significant volume here. So OPK coming back to life as well, guys.
It's the same news. So it is that same news, Brendan, but it's just that they are using the 13.8. They're drawing it down.
There you go. They're drawing on it.
It looks like they'll take on more debt right now. So great look. Thank you, Brendan, for that news. And when it comes fast and furious there, we get goosebumps here because you see the market move and you know there's big news. And check the chart out. Boeing. Oh, man. This name just...
I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find the date. If my daily can load up. We're talking about July of 2017.
Look at this.
July 2017. Those are the levels that we're back to on Boeing right now. 205.
That is today.
I know.
Not even a daily chart.
That's a 10%
$20
move.
today.
Not a gap down. This is 10% since the open.
I'm not even sure Boeing moved 11% on some of those crazy Max Air 737 news, but here we go, 10% basically in about 20 minutes there.
Yuck.
Well, I mean, this is more than 20 minutes. Let's call it about an hour on Boeing. Obviously, someone knew about that news, Neil, well before. And the markets are fair. Okay, 155.48. Look at Microsoft. We take that one. We crush it once again. We hit the floss off. We're short up here, 155.78. We talked about giving it some room up here to 156.20. It's now falling back down. Let's take a little bit of profit on this one before we break again. We resisted this 155 flat. So let's see if we can't break that one more time. We'll put some bids here. Take 40 pennies quick time.
And just looking at Aqua with a great look. Fresh lows on Netflix as well. So we're still working towards that bottom on Nike. Look, for me, I mentioned my reasoning earlier why I do want to take it off down here in front of that low. So it's going to be, it's an arrows down story for me, and I do have Netflix up, and we're going to go back to Nike. We talked about that bottom right before the market opened at 83.10. I'll slide off here. We're not testing lows in the futures. I think that'll give me a chance at a pullback and even a breakout trade. So case closed. We take $1.30 on our last exit. And again, Nike, you find something you think is relatively weak, you're able to participate. You don't even get an extended move in the futures. We're still in the same range that we made off of the open, but you can still catch some big wins if you're in the right name.
Yeah, we're going to see here, we do take a little bit more short now of Microsoft breaking back down through 155. So I don't know, it's resisted it a couple times. We'll hold it here and see if it does give it up now, as Microsoft now giving up 155, but very much resisting this move down. Obviously, you see the futures bouncing a little bit right now. This is a big position here for Microsoft to the downside here at 155. We'll see if it can hold this level. I'm obviously hoping it does not. We'll see on the downside here, 155 now short Microsoft. We're going to wait to see if this one wants to fall. If the futures go, then we know this will go, but it does need a little bit of help here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just reassessing where I might want to jump back into that Nike position. But we are looking, it's close to that 1040 mark. You start to see things come in just a little bit. And again, the future is not making a tremendous range. We are eyeballing Netflix on that bottom. If you're looking at that bottom of Netflix, you're talking about 354. But INO, remember we're waiting around for that one to break to the top side. Of course, I faded into the long and grabbed some profits on the way up. It just took out that pre-market top range, 793 to the long. It's about to break 8 even. We have 93s long, but look at the wall.
Yeah, I saw that.
I just saw at 8 even. My goodness, how many shares do we have there? I mean,
big wall.
Yeah, 100,000. Maybe it wasn't that much. It's 30 million. It's 30 million in volume. So I guess it really isn't even that much. It looked like about 100,000 to me on 40 million in volume. That doesn't worry me as much. If it had been a million shares, that's a different story.
Then we'd be worried. Yeah. Okay. Good call there. We're waiting for INO to break. Once it does break 8, your boy will be in as well. We should be in at least, anyways. Yeah, 801 break we'll have. So we're going to play that one to the long side when and if it does break. But here we go. Microsoft. We did dump a little bit of that, guys. We scalp a lot. Obviously, it was what I do. It didn't break 155. Now we're going to hold on to the rest. Now I think we could get a good spot here if these futures do fall, man. We did not reload. I would love to reload again back up here in the mid 155s. I'm not going to reload at these lows of the day. We're going to wait to see if it does break and hold on for dear life as Microsoft coming to the downside as well. There's
a break. So we got 93s. It breaks that 8 even. I think you can use some of that juice to the upside, whatever you want to call it, if you want to take a quick little scalp. And again, you can take maybe 20 cents off almost immediately, depending on what your entry point is going to be.
Correct.
So for me, with 93 entry, I'm going to take a few shares off there. We get the nice little run up, 20 pennies to 820, but keep in mind where these stocks have come from. And the daily is going to look ridiculous because I was going all the way back in Boeing. This stock was up above 19. It's been coming on the way back in. There's really no key levels till you get to about $9 or so, but 930, if technically speaking, was a high a few sessions ago.
Here we go. Yeah, we're long a couple hundred shares here at 8, so we're going to wait to see here. 820 coming through right now, so decent winner right now on INO. We do have a nice, we did have, I was over on INO. Microsoft now coming to the downside, of course. You guys know we're short 155. Let's see if we can't cash this. Here we go.
There's 830s on INO, 835. continuing to run. Again, you look at that breakout, there was lots of ways to play it even before that break happens, but once it does, you're now running well in the money in this one. So for me, we'll see if we can't take 30. I tried to take 35 pennies off on that one, and it just ran away from that order. But either way, I think we're ready for Brendan Wickens, your twin.
Just watching some of the airlines, guys, seeing a story that just came out. The FAA planning to waive minimum requirements for flights in the U.S. at all airports until the end of May. We talked a little bit about some aid coming to the airlines yesterday from that Trump press conference. So looks like the FAA waiving minimum flight requirements for the airports right through the U.S. until the end of May to help with the coronavirus, guys.
That seems like that's probably good news.
I mean,
I don't know. The future's not really moving too much. Microsoft, again, we didn't take too much advantage of that. We did get out at 84, so that was a pretty sweet out on the downside of that. But we're going to wait to see here. I'm going to drop some of this. It's just not. Look, I mean, I like this Microsoft short. There's no doubt about that. But I noticed that it was strong yesterday. Possibly could be a strong name today. If the futures fall, there's probably a few better names to take other than Microsoft. But you can see right now, futures down, still that 2.8%. Let's wait to see what it can do. Oxy's still in the money, but not really moving. We waited for this ultimate out here of 55. Didn't hit. We're going to hold Oxy now to the long side again. I&O still a 20 penny winner. Let's see what we can do to the top side.
Yeah, I got some of the airlines for you here if you want to look at it. And UAL, and I looked at Southwest, same thing, and they're both down 5-6% here. No movement to the upside, hanging on to these bottoms. So you're not necessarily getting the reaction to the upside. I think we've been looking for the last couple of days for some strong measures to aid the travel industry and the entertainment industry. I mean, you had, what was it? I think it was, I forget, maybe it was MGM. I'm not sure who it was, canceling buffets.
What?
They were literally closing buffets in one of the hotels. I'd have to look into it. Maybe Brendan can get that to us. I mean, I'm not going to say the word overreaction. It is what it is. But I mean,
strange, yeah.
It's a little bit strange. But I did see that one come through the wire. We're going still to the upside on that I&O, but we're stalling out here at about 8:30. So let's watch for that breakout. You could be an adder through that price, but the futures are starting to come in, which usually is good for these coronavirus things. But right now, this one's sort of running out of gas.
Yeah, you can say that again. Microsoft right now, we are short and crushing this one. 35 pennies in the money on Microsoft right now as well. 15 pennies in the money on I&O, and 9 pennies in the money right now. What's up, Jacqueline? I see was new to the channel. Thank you so much. Tell your friends, tell your dog, whoever wants to log in and watch some of these shows. We will appreciate that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We are back every single day. Is now I&O back upside here, 830, Neil. We'll see as high as it got. I have is 835. So let's see if I&O can't keep running up here on coronavirus fear.
It was MGM, and so they closed buffets.
You're right.
I want to get you guys back to AYTU because I did take this. We talked about the consolidation range in front of 190. It's starting to go now, so we'll start to take some profits off on our 180 short. But we are ready for our sector watch. And look, I see something in there that's not red. I see something. I do.
Must be a mistake. Let's find out.
DXC, we talked about that one. A little bit of positive news. There's one in the tech group. DXC right here just went away again, but 4.8% to the upside. They were selling their insurance or part of their insurance business. So nice look for DXC there to the upside. But everything else, very, very red. Overall, 3.5% for the entire market here, S&P. There's Boeing leading the industrials here, 9.7% to the downside now. So pretty ugly. URI, ARNC, DE, PWR, to name a few, all 6% or more in negative territory. So industrials among the leaders, not a single stock here in this entire group in positive territory. But yeah, there's DXC in the tech stocks here, 4.4% to the upside. ADS, V, IT, and PayC, all 4% plus to the upside. So tech stocks also very, very red. One little lonely one over here in the pharmaceutical sector, also in positive territory. Everything else very, very red in healthcare, energy stocks, we've talked about a lot, material stocks and real estate among the leaders. On this side, consumer discretionary stocks. I wanted to mention all the retailers here. You guys were looking at Macy's. I mean, you can have a look at JWN, GPS, KSS, BBY even all about 6% or more into negative territory. Even Home Depot getting hit today, guys, 4% to the downside for HD service companies as well. So here is the hotels. You can see Hilton, RCL, and CCL all 6%. Hilton almost 7%. There was a little note on that one today. Also, DRI was among the individual names to the downside here. Just saw it flip there, but banks, financials, all negative. The entire group in negative territory. Overall, 3.3% in the red for the S&P today, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much. We'll do some profit taking on that AYTU, and we'll go arrows down on this one as we bounce in the market, but not in this name, down 15%. We did grab that short in the 180, reloading at 184. And again, you're just looking at it fail to this move up back to $2 even. You get the nice little flush, and what you do is you take it off when it flushes down. A buyer steps up at 175, at least temporarily, and got taken out. Got our last out at 167, so you are able to make about 15 cents on that, which is great, but that's just with your last exit. Still holding on to half the position here, and I will slide my stop to 180. You're using 190 before. You're working in the money. I'm looking for a retest of that 150 bottom. That'd be fantastic. And here we go southbound once again on AYTU, despite the futures bouncing back to the upside. And I'll give you that little shout out. Why not? Let's go with To the Moon, and this is for your net there, Aqua. I love that move that you made over there at Netflix, one that we maybe should have been a little bit more attuned to there. Nice little bounce off the bottom. Hope you caught that bottom there on your shorts. I'm out of that Nike at that 83 even area. It's holding the low, and again, with the futures not really busting through, I don't know that you want to be too greedy when it comes to taking profits. If you're getting those 84s and 84.50s, take some profit off. We can always make another leg to the downside. 8100s holding on the NASDAQ, at least for now. You're still in about a 40-50 handle range. And we saw in the afternoon, much better moves directionally. So, you take your profits in the morning, you gear yourself up, know where relative strength and weakness is going to be. For me, I'm jumping back into some of these coronavirus names that I got away from, at least a little bit. That's why we're in that AYTU. We love this stock. It's been a good one for us. You want to track back in to see what oil is doing if you've been following some of those names. Again, we did have the number come in. Bit of a muted move to the downside. We've already come all the way back to that $34 a barrel mark. So again, not a huge move off of that number. I probably got out of that XLM trade a little bit too early. We probably could have hung on or even dug into that one. But Brendan, what do you have for us?
Earlier, guys, we were talking about this TLSA, not Tesla, but TLSA, little Corona related stock here. Just breaking this last little pivot here, 550 to the downside. So another one looking like it might want to come off a little bit. TLSA, guys.
So I just even noticed here that the INO comes back down right to our entry price of 93 and then heads back northbound. So we got almost top wick. It stalled out at 850 or so. Looks like it's going to reload to the top. One thing to watch, when you get a breakout trade here, if it fails through that 850 and it makes a consolidation point in the middle here, I would be looking to have a break-even stop and then reassess. If it breaks 850, you can always go back long. So that's what I'm looking at. We got long INO at 793. It's in the money 13 or 14 cents. The short in AYTU, that's at 182. That's down at 174. So both these coronavirus names, one long, one short, both working out for us right now. Futures heading down towards that bottom, however.
Yeah, Davide loving the explanation. So good job there, and thank you, Davide, for that.
It's encouragement
and it's the coffee there.
Thank you, Valeria, for giving us the energy with this coffee. I mean, if I don't get that, we're in a world of hurt here, Sean.
Okay. Okay. Here we go, Neil. You talked about INO there. When I was gone, up to 18 again.
Should have reloaded.
818, sorry. We're still loaded up at 04. We have been dropping it. My best out was 46 there. Wow. I can't believe it went all the way up there. That would have been nice. Should have got them all out there. But now the drop comes down. We could have picked some more up, 790. That would have been a tough one. Maybe you can try to get some out here if it does fall, 775 or so. Maybe a good little look there on a drop down. But right now, INO, I have about half of my trade still on. Still waiting for that moonshot to get going here. We'll see if it can come back in. Microsoft now fading down as well. Would have loved to pick up some more shares here at this 155.40 level. But here we go. Futures now, Neil, right down to day's low once again.
Yeah, looking for that 27.65 area on the ES. But INO here, it's not crazy if you even wanted to add through a break of 850. I mean, you're in the money. We call that averaging up. You can average down when it's working against you, but you can also take more shares when the trend is working working in your favor. Did miss that reload as we mentioned there, but I gotta see it get past this 820 area and make a test at that top. Otherwise, I am considering taking the profits off because that's usually a short setup. When we have a breakout to a high, it fails to take out the next level, consolidates lower. Usually, I'm thinking short because I like this name to the long side for now. That would just mean taking profits out. So we'll have a look at that. I do want to get you back. I talked about IWM earlier, bouncing off shy of a 128 level. We are approaching 129, so watch out when that gets to 128. Wow. It looks like it's going to coincide with the futures at the bottom as well, so everything moving in lockstep here.
Yeah, exactly. We love when that happens because it makes it easy for us to trade. Here goes Microsoft. We just hit the 60s there again on this little move down, and this is what we're talking about with the futures. I talked about it being days low. That's the intraday low here. Since we've opened up in the market, we did touch down as low as 27.64. We're very close to that right now. 71, 72. We talked about breaking 87 all the way up here, and that's sort of been the pivot. Broke there, broke here, back to the downside. So if you're holding on to some shorts, I think you might be okay. Wait, give it all the way to 27.92 or so if you're trading this market. Here goes Microsoft. This is a 30, 40, 50 penny winner.
And there goes AYTU again. This one all morning long has been coming in. It's giving you these opportunities, cash money. Look, every single level of consolidation, if you've been shorting, and I got away from it. We were going long in Codex and long in INO, where you should be continuously shorting this. Just took some shares out at 64. We got some others at 68. We're short here at $1.81 is our average price. Our last entry was at 83, so maybe we already have a 10% win here, but off the open, this one got to 154, and I can show you what happened in the afternoon yesterday. Multiple halts on the way down. That same bottom was $1.51, and that's basically the low here, 154. So I'd love to see us trace down towards that price on any kind of a move. I've already moved my stop to break even, lower than that, so $1.80. So it can't turn into a losing trade. But the rest you're holding to a 150. Hopefully you can take that 30 bagger. Otherwise, it's a break even or maybe a 1 or 2 cent win on this last little bit.
Either way, beauty right there. Okay, we could put our bid now on Microsoft. It's bounced off of here one too many times for me to chill out with this trade. We do have some shares down. Microsoft right now short 154.96. It's a 30 penny, well, it's 20 penny winner now, but it has bounced basically 3, 4, 5 times off this bottom. So let's put a bid out there, get out of half, and then hold the rest and see if these futures want to bottom or not. But right now, I think we have some good positions on, and we are also ready for the big board here with Brendan. Let's go.
Hey guys, currency time. Let's have a look at some current movement in the currency market, I guess. A couple of interesting ones today. I want to start with the Japanese yen. We've been talking over the past couple of days with big moves in the market. This was kind of a bit of a safe haven. We had a huge flush at the end of last week, all the way down to 102 on the yen. We got the bounce to start this week, coming back in a little bit. We're at 104.5. This thing has traveled from 112 all the way down to 102, and now we're back to 104.5 over a span of just a couple of weeks here. So Japanese yen 104.4 down full percent or more today. So that's the big one. A lot of people taking some risk and putting it back to work in equity markets. So out of the yen. Euro back to the upside today, 113 in positive territory, 0.3%. The CAD broke 73, so Canadian dollar weakness continues, 72.73. Euro pound is higher. We have the British pound kind of flat, 129. It's been kind of consolidating underneath that 130 level. 130 obviously a big level for the pound. Positive on the day, higher on the day, but still below that 130 level. Swiss franc is to the downside today. Everything else pretty muted. Even crypto's down here, 7,800 back in play for Bitcoin, down 2% again today. Ethereum broke 200 today, 193, down 4% for Ethereum. So the crypto market back to the downside after a couple of nice positive days. Guys, back over to you.
Yeah, crypto market continues to be an interesting one as we can look here. I haven't traded anything today in the crypto space, haven't really seen too many opportunities, but if you are looking at that, see, this is what I'm talking about. Look at GBTC today, 890 top, I guess, and 880 bottom. So GBTC today doing nothing. That's the Bitcoin name. There is also ETHE, but this one never really has any volume. Shout out to Jeff Mendel from OTC Markets that's come through and given us some of these names, but ETHE, not much happening. Good look on that one, Brendan, as we go, guys.
That's hilarious. I mean, I love the comments about the same shirt. 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. I think it's amazing that you guys have pulled that off. If you do it the third day, I'll be incredibly impressed. I want to jump to one energy name that I don't know why I got away from it, and we talked about WLL yesterday, loving the shorts in front of a buck. Today it's in front of 90 cents, and it continues to be under pressure. So that story is basically the same thing. I'll jump to XOM in a second here, but first, we have Valeria.
Thanks, Neil, and hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone who just tuned in. I remind you that we are the best live trading show. And guys, hit the thumbs up and subscribe for our show. Do you know what I love the most about live streaming on YouTube? That it brings people from all over the world in one place with same interest. So write on the live chat where are you from and what time is it at your place. Is it morning or is it night? We're having morning in Toronto. Back to you guys.
Yeah, we are having morning.
Right.
Yeah, that's for sure. It is morning time here, but it's also 11 o'clock. So some people probably getting close to lunchtime right now, but we'll see here. We are trading in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And yeah, hit that like button. Let's keep this momentum going. We do have Mish Schneider from Market Gauge coming through very, very soon. Check our Twitter, check our Instagram for our Guest of the Week posts. We always have them coming through. And
absolute expert when it comes to anything that's commodities related. So you're going to want to make sure you tune in here. Stick around. It's going to be in about 25 minutes, as Sean mentioned. And of course, we also have coming up is going to be the trade of the day. And it could have been a few ones today, but I love the pick you made. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but in just a couple of minutes, we're going to have that. We are, and this is the important thing right now, is we are testing toward the lows, looking at the futures. So we're close to that 27.65. I'm looking over at Nike, which we've been shorting pretty much all morning. And again, we take it off at that bottom. It breaks 83 and comes right back. So it's basically holding a low end of the range. I love this as an entry point. If we get that flush through 27.65, if you watch that Russell, if it breaks that low, that key level we mentioned, the floodgates could open. Again, the big move hasn't happened yet. It's only a 50 handle range in the ES. We've been getting way more than that lately, and I expect to see that come in.
Yeah, we'll be flushed out of INO here. I know we just talked about that.
Yeah, 780
as well. We did have it. Here's INO. We do have it long right here, breaking through $8. We did take as much as 46 cents. Was our best out, but again, these are just all small little outs here as we take out about 10% all the way. So we're still holding 40% of that one, and we're going to wait till this breaks down here, 7.8, 7.75, if not a little bit lower. We did reload on some Microsoft. I had no idea why it wasn't going down. Maybe we could zoom in a little bit more. So we take some 95s. Rewarded right away with it coming back down into the 80s. But again, there we go. A quick out there. So quick 20 penny scalp on Microsoft. But of course, we want more. So let's wait to see if there is some more downside.
Dax, I got you. I already told you if you came and visited the floor that you would get some of my in-laws maple syrup. I already told you this would happen. You show up. I got like an unlimited supply. They make the stuff, they tap it themselves. And look, it's a bit of a process. I've helped out with it, but definitely we'll give you some love. Carrie, you know what? We'll try to drop some poker analogies from there, here and there. Great sort of a connection between poker and trading in terms of the psychology. And I'll give you a book link there to watch out. If you're a poker player, I know you know who Annie Duke is. Read her book. It is fantastic for traders. Thinking in bets, it's a great one.
Yeah, this market has been rivered the last couple days on the close. The close has been fantastic for people here, and we could still see a monster move at any time, especially heading into the close. So I think, Carrie, check that out if you are interested in trading a lot of momentum. Of course, we're only on until 12 o'clock, but the close has been a spicy one.
Spicy
Needless
meatball.
to say, here goes the market up a little bit, making that bottom at 27.70 again.
But look, good timing is the market making a move off that bottom. Let's see how Europe is trading right now at the big screen with Liz.
Hey guys, so Europe is pretty mixed all across the board. We have London down by about 0.62%. We have Germany down about flat, and we have France up by about 0.33%. Italy down by about 0.4%, and Spain down by about 0.7%. In the news right now, Bayer announced that they will be closing their offices in Missouri due to the coronavirus fears. Covestro announced that they're going to donate some medical supplies to help the coronavirus. And Carnival Cruise is actually up right now after Trump said that he'll be helping the industry. That's it for the Europe update. Throwing it to Brendan.
Hey guys, yeah, 11 o'clock. Let's get into trade of the day. If you are joining us for the first time, this is the segment we kind of take a step back and look at one of the trades that either Neil or Sean took off of the open this morning. If you join us at 9 o'clock, we talk about a whole bunch of symbols all moving around in the pre-market, typically with some sort of catalyst or news making them move around. For the past couple of days, it's been kind of a market-wide event. So the entire market obviously moving higher or lower depending on the day. In this case, we're going to be discussing an energy name. So oil markets obviously been in play over the past 3 days. One of the ways you can obviously trade the oil markets is through individual stocks. Sean set to go at the TV with trade of the day.
Yeah, nice shirt there, Brendan. And as we go today, yeah, Oxy right here, Occidental, we talked about the kind of moves. They had like a 50% haircut on Monday, a little bit back yesterday. So look, it was on our radars early, and really the only reason why was because of the volatility in the name the last couple of days. You could see what it was doing today, and we'll talk about that in a couple seconds. But also today at 10:30, we did have that oil number. So I did want to take a position and just sort of see what did happen there at 10:30. Obviously a lot of volume coming in. You're going to see some big spikes off the open in the volume, and we'll talk about that. But we did take a little bit of a pre-market trade, then averaged in and was able to enjoy a nice little run here. Why don't we take a look at the first clip and see what was sort of going through our mind even before we got into the trade. I'm going to go long here through 13.15. Probably will execute very soon. We do have oil number coming out at 10:30, down 9%. I think there's some relief coming for these guys. Here's 13.15 right here. You can hold it all the way back down to 13 or so. We'll take, maybe 1,000 or so shares through this level. Talk about Oxy, and what we're talking about right now is taking this through 13.15. Why? That was just sort of this little pre-market high, and if we actually pulled the chart back, you would see again 13.15 more. So we take it through a little bit of a break. It comes right back down, and we talk about holding it through $13. Instead of that, which never really breaks 13, some of these wicks don't really scare me too much. We actually go long at 01, so we get our first print here at 15. It doesn't break. We basically buy the top. Then you're seeing little minimal volume here before the market opens. We even checked the imbalance locator, and there was really nothing for it. So we take another one right at 13. I love those even dollar levels. Why don't we run the next clip, see what happens as we have a nice little averaged in price. Right now, Apple is a 70-cent winner and Oxy is 18 cents right now. Only 2 positions on for me, but we're going to watch this Oxy. It's moving around like crazy right now. It goes up and down and around. So we've been cashing some out. My best out was 37s, and now we drop back down here. So watch out. This is why we get out of things. Okay, I think it's a very important point here. You're going to see we've been called scalp masters, so on and so forth as we go. We have to scalp this trade because what you're going to notice, and I didn't realize it was really this crazy for a $13 stock. Most of these candles, top to bottom, look, 13 bottom, 13.40 top. So you're literally moving 40 cents almost every single candle here in the first 10 minutes is basically a 40-cent range in just 1 minute of trade. So that's crazy. I think I do an absolutely fantastic job, actually, Brendan. Now that I look at this, we basically get the majority of our shares out right here at the top before this tank right back down. We'll talk about those positions. But Brendan, you can't get much better than this. This is just simply scalping, and I think we do a pretty good job.
Yeah, pretty impressive price action first off, and scalping, as you mentioned, they're right at the top end of the range, and then you get the snap right back to the downside heading into the oil numbers. So obviously the oil number came out bigger than expected. Not a big reaction really right across the board. I was looking at both the futures and some individual names, and I think they were kind of expecting it. I mean, 2.2 expected, comes out 7 plus on the build side. So bigger than expected build, but not a big reaction, including on individual names. Let's go to the next clip.
Oxy right now, I'm looking to pick some more up. That's the point. So we're going to wait to see here what this is doing. It just dropped basically off a cliff here from 13.20. Remember we were talking about it just chilling out right here. Once it broke down this level. Look, more education time right here. I'll put my little pen right here. This is that 13.20 level that we kept talking about during the show. Great clip there, whoever clipped it. Lucas, Austin, great job, guys. You can see right here, as soon as we broke this level, we fade right back in. I talk about not putting on more shares until we get down here, and I actually follow the plan pretty much to an exact T. You can see here, you might be saying, why do we only have 2 ins here and multiple outs? It's because we drop our shares in parts, right? Like we mentioned, you take 1,000 shares here and you average down in here, you might have 2,000 shares, 1,500 shares. Each one of these could be 100. You're cashing back and forth, in and out, in and out. Then when it reloads all the way back down here, of course, this was a great spot for us. What I was basically doing, looking at, and I'll try to move over a little bit over here, you can see down here, trying to protect this 1350, 1360 area. So we do just that, get some more shares here. We noticed this drop, and I actually had no idea what this drop was all about. Neil headed over to Exxon and did a same bottom pick a little bit as well. We get rewarded with the move back up. Brendan, before we talk about the out here, you just mentioned 1030. That's right down here. I don't even see a spike in volume. I don't see anything. So I think you're 100% right. That was a muted move. Oxy basically goes from 1260 to 1275. Not much of a move at all on that name.
As far as break to the downside, if we get continued weakness in both the energy markets or oil futures, what kind of price do we look at on Oxy as far as the line in the sand on the long side? When do we start looking at this thing short?
Yeah, so I would just say, I mean, look, I think this is kind of a loaded question because you can see down here, 1255. Brendan knows the way we trade, and I think he's very similar. If it breaks this day's low, then we'll start to get a little bearish. But you know what? I'm actually down 12%, down 50% on Monday. Could have even been more than that. I'll have to double check. I don't know if I'm going to go short this name at all. I think there's a possible energy squeeze could happen at any given time. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually holding, Neil talks about this a lot, holding a core position and actually waiting for that 55 to break. That's a great question. Why don't we run the last clip? I believe it's talking a little bit about that. Yeah, here's a little tease, guys. The trade of the day will be Oxy, and right now we're going to hold it until, like Neil just said, 1030. We'll see what happens. We're pretty light now on it, about 10% only of our position. We'll go longer if it takes out this 1290, but for right now, we're going to hold this spot and wait to see what happens when that oil number does come out in approximately 8 minutes. That's why we took this all out. Look at this. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang. Lots of longs, lots of great trades happening right now in Oxy. Yes, get those double barrels out. You can see right now, 1277 right now on Oxy. We're going to hold that till the end, guys. Yep, so there it is right there. We did talk about that. We were going to hold this until the end, and that's what we're going to do. 1255 or so. Great question, Brendan. We just talked about that. I do have some orders sitting right here, 1280-ish to get out of our long. I think our average price right now is 62-ish or so. So if we can get back into the 80s, we'll get out. And it's a very, very similar thing. I would much rather, you asked about where do we draw the line in the sand on the downside. I would much rather this little peak here. It's about 1290. I think if we can get above this little drop, I'll probably go long again, 1290, see if we can't get back into this rough range there. But either way, that should be about like a 30-cent win. We'll take that if we can get it on this $13 name. But that's the trade of the day, Oxy. And look, there's more to come on this one. We'll continue to trade these names for us. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, put some notes in the chat. How do you like these trade of the day segments? I think they're fantastic, a great learning opportunity, even for myself. What we could have done better, what we could have done worse, where to put more risk on. That's your trade of the day.
Yeah, more to come in the entire sector, I feel, as far as energy names are related, and even the oil market. As Sean,
you have a guess.
Sean
see,
joins
it
me
is a little bit different.
It's very
a little
different.
bit different. You have the nice little
minor flowers. Yours
minor
are like just
railway
maybe.
tracks?
Yeah, so it's
But,
different. It's different. I don't know what you're talking about.
Who knows?
Mies Schneider joining us in a few minutes from Market Gauge. She's going to give us a higher time frame look at a whole bunch of stuff.
She's great.
11:20, guys. Let's go back to Neil.
Effectively the same shirt. I mean, it's a little bit darker, blah, blah, blah. As far as I'm concerned, that's as close as it's going to get.
Close enough.
I want to jump in. We love all the chatter there, but I got to mention to you guys that IWM, you had that December 18. It was like 127.74. Now, I've been saying 128 bottom. 127.74 is the actual low. We're going to talk about that. We just bounced shy of it again, so We keep testing these levels at the bottom, and I feel like at some point you're going to take a shot at a break here using either that level in conjunction with 2765. I don't know where you want to express your long trade. It can be in the Qs, the SPY, in the futures, a strong name like a JPM. If it breaks to the downside, whether you want to just grab one of these indexes to the short side, or you jump into something. I'll jump back into my Nike trade probably as well, as we're breaking things over there. Just heard something drop, but I did get out of that AYTU trade. So it does come back to the upside. Look, we wanted the last little bit to break down to 150, that low. You're not going to get it, but you do that break even stop. You're basically flat that trade. It's now coming back to the upside, going to retest to even. So it bounces heavily. You don't get greedy. You don't get stubborn. I mean, you don't sit there and lose 15 pennies on a $1.80 stock just because you want it to make the bottom. And that's what it does. It breaks that 180. It's headed right to $2.
Neil, quickly over to my screen, guys. INO, Neil, you might want to look at this. $7.50. Big size there. If it breaks, we may go back to that $8 range. We did talk about getting out. There it goes. I tried to get long and missed it. So there we go. INO right now to the upside there. Not even sure how we really missed that, but we'll take some more long here at 62 and see what's going on. I tried to cross up to 55. Obviously that broke. So INO right now. The Corona names failing today, but we're going to wait to see if this wants to get to the backside here. We did go long, cashed it out, then got out of what we were holding left. But right now we go back long. This name INO. See if we can't get a little bit of money in that one. But
I was going to say welcome back. I was going to say welcome back, Rasmus. There, I think we saw you there yesterday. Good look on AYTU. I definitely got away from it too early myself, and I know the best shorts were the first time at 195 when you could have taken 189, 190 certainly, and you could have had that bottom as well. I did the reverse trade. You do the long in front of that little bottom. Great. I shorted into that as well. So effectively the same kind of win. And what's good about 65 million shares in volume on a low cap name like this is you can take it both ways. You traded long, I trade short. We're both making that cash. I'm loving it. We're punching through some key levels here. I'm watching out for this $2 even area. If it wants to go back up, we saw what happened in the afternoon yesterday if you're watching this name, and a repeat would be fantastic. It was explosive upside and even better to the downside.
Sure it was. Good look there, everybody. Microsoft, a big shout out to our boy Zane. What up, Zane? Give me Patrick Mahomes at some point.
Nope.
155.
In trade with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Maybe I'll trade him Phillip Rivers for him. You can see here Microsoft to the downside. Wait a minute, is that Vikram or Zane? No,
he's still playing?
Okay. I don't know. No, he's not actually. Here we go, Microsoft. So we go short again, Microsoft right here, 155.30, holding against this 155.50. I don't know if it's going to hold or not, but we'll wait to see if we can't come back to the downside. 154.83 now, looking like it may be something. We did put a bid down here at 90, so let's see if we get below 155 again and see if we can't cash out a nice 40 cents, but that would be nice, but we'll see if it can go. Still holding that Oxy, and now we got INO to the long side. You guys know about that?
Yeah, a quick look over at Codex there. I know you mentioned that one as well, Rasmus. Bounce to the upside, as you can see. Look, we made a second top here. We did make a breakthrough at that 12 even area, but it is pulling back in. So I'm not going to be looking at the short in this trade unless it breaks this area here. It's not going to be 11 even for me. It's about 10.75 on the way back down. I want to see it stop making new highs. I need to see it break through that level to the downside. It's got so much to travel that who cares if you miss the first 50 cents of a move like that? It's not going to matter. You have lots of room back to about 9 even. Sometimes it doesn't happen until the afternoon. We closed at $7 yesterday. Right. I mean, under $7. What am I talking about? So there's lots of love if you can get the short side trade here. You don't have to try to pick the absolute top on these, which can get you into a lot of trouble. Brendan, what do you got for it?
Just going to mention Apache here, guys. We just spent a whole segment there talking about Oxy, another one from the group here, down 18%. You can see the relative weakness coming in. APA already at day lows where Oxy was kind of holding around the bottom end of the range. Below, 2 days ago, low on Apache as well. So big time weakness for APA, guys.
All right, and we see you there, Victor. Thanks for that shout out. I did want to let you know I did drop 25% of the position right here at 79. It looks like 82, but it's not. I'm going to check my fill. No, it was 82. $7.82. We dropped half of our position off of this 61 or 2 long. We did want to get it through 50. I didn't cross enough, so this should have been a 30-penny winner, but unfortunately we didn't get there. Here it comes right back to the top side. So Victor, there we go. These can be obviously big stocks. I'd love to hold this back up here. I know the destruction continues on this name. Let's just wait to see if it can't go upside. My Microsoft trying to get going here, Neil. What are the futures going to do down 3% right now.
We're really starting to make a wedge at this bottom here. You're looking at a lot of things sort of making these little lows here. We did get a tiny little bump in the 10-year, so I mean that's what got us off the low, it looks like, but we're still holding 20 handles away on the ES, and Russell is well looking weak, the small caps. But that I&O you're talking about, look, this was the breakout level to the upside. Off of the open, the failed break after that halt. You also had a rejection of that same 775 area. You had a breakout through that price. I got out in front of it on the way back in when we got that long, and now you're seeing some consolidation again. So there's a lot of ways you can look at this. It could be a breakout through 90s. You could also short it at this price through that 90 area if you wanted to try that. I'm looking at these futures here and getting ready to go to the south side. I mean, I like Nike through 83 if we break the low of the day. If we're going to get along, I still like the idea of JP Morgan.
I love JP Morgan.
I saw that one look pretty strong, and again, it's holding above, sort of well above its pre-market lows at 95 area. You're like $2 away from that right now. You got the opening range low, like 50 pennies away. If we can make any kind of bounce, get back to that 2,800, I think this is a long position.
Agreed,
if we get a bounce off these lows, I love JPM. To the short side, I'm looking for something other than Nike, but I don't see anything I love. Boeing's already down so much. I mean, Boeing, like you said, Greg, Boeing has gotten absolutely slow. It's still at 210. It hasn't even bounced. I feel like you got to... I'm staying away from it for the time being, but what a crazy move that was from 225 all the way down to 205.
We're going to wait up Boeing. I'm going to wait. I want to see when wings up on that one, when we get back into the air on the 737 MAX. I laugh because I just got an email from our good friend Rahim Alani over there at OCI Group, one of my favorite guests. I know yours as well, always coming. And his trade recommendation, buy it and then thereafter start selling it. So, whatever the equity is, buy it first, sell it later, make a little bit of money, or in reverse order.
Sell it for a higher price than you bought it at. You're missing something there, Raheem.
Raheem there. Thank you so much for watching and continuing with us and mentioning that he was enjoying the trade of the day. So thank you so much for that one. But I'm enjoying Microsoft right now as we're short. Our last short was 155.30. It's now a 30 penny winner. I'm waiting right here at 90. We already talked about that. So we're going to see if that one can come right back down through. Again, I'm super excited. I have Ms. Schneider coming on. There's no one better to talk about some macro ideas, even micro ideas in this kind of a market. She's been hammering the pavement with us on sugar. Her experience is well recommended and well loved on the show, and we love to hear that from her. And she's going to be coming very, very shortly. Check her out on Twitter as well. I've been tweeting out some things as well. Carnival Cruise down 10% today. What is going on with you? Come on, Microsoft.
This 2180 has been an interesting level for Carnival the entire way. And look, you're looking for names to be short. I'll take a shot here. We haven't broken through the lows. I'm going to dip my toes into this one anyway. 2180 has been such a good one. Look at what happened yesterday when we took this one out. You got all the way down, tested the 20 even area before bouncing back. I think you can give this one 22 even. Again, I'm going to have a tighter stop here because we haven't broken the bottom in the future, so I'm jumping in early to this short. And there we go. It tries to snake down there to 60s. We're going to hang on to this one. We'll see what happens to 22 even. But if we take out the bottom in the market and we start to flush, I think you might be adding to this position as opposed to taking it off.
Victor's in this. I don't know if you are as well. Right back to that kill spot. We're going to get out if it breaks through 50 right now. We've tried it. We go along here at 804 and get out. That's beautiful. Hold 20% down here. Get out. Reload it once again at 59s here. I think it was 61, sorry. Then get out at 79. And there we go. We get flushed down. We fall in a hole. We don't actually fall in a hole. I mean, the trade, I know, is actually my only negative stock because we did take a little bit more shares there today. But Apple, I&O, Macy's, Microsoft, and Oxy, all big winners for us, but I just want to give that back to you, Victor. We are out of there. Welcome, Hector. Welcome, Cario.
Enjoy. Good morning.
Welcome to that one. Here goes Microsoft straight to the downside. We've been hitting the pavement on this one.
Oh, we're testing that bottom.
Pigs get slaughtered, so we did take some out there at 90, but right now, guys, Microsoft, 155.29. Check our positions below, guys. You'll see where we're short. This is a 70 penny winner on Microsoft. Just filling you guys in. Oxy's 10 cents to the long. Microsoft now, bring it back, baby. Let's explode some money for that. But we are all... Bye-bye, Microsoft.
Bye-bye market. We're about to take out that
market.
bottom here, and it's fantastic timing. We just got a break there at 8,100, just got a break at that 2770 on the ES, and of course just took that Carnival Cruiser. It just took that low. I love this one at 20 if we get a real flush. But I do believe we've been waiting patiently all morning long.
We're excited.
It is finally time for our guest of the day. An absolute hit last time. We'll let Brendan at the desk introduce.
Hey guys, yeah, thank you very much. We are back once again with a very special guest. Couldn't think of a better person to have on a day like this and on a week like this than Mish Schneider, joining us from MarketGauge.com, Director of Trading Education and Research over at MarketGauge. There's Mish. Good morning, Michelle. How are you? Great to see you. It's been a while since we've had you on the show. First time, by the way, on YouTube Live this time. So we are live on YouTube. I mean, it's been, what do you say? It's been a crazy week to start. How have you been trading? How have things been going over the past couple of sessions?
Well, I have two things next to me at all times now, my mug of coffee and Dramamine, because that's what it feels like you need in this market.
It's been a crazy, obviously move down, a bit of a bounce here. We're kind of consolidating from a higher time frame. I know you like to look at, the overall markets from a higher time frame, more of a macro look. How have you been approaching this period with increased volatility?
Well, let's just step back a little bit, because remember when we spoke, which was about a month ago, the market at that point, or at least the SPY and the Qs, were making new highs, and we talked about how the inside of the market, or the transportation sector, the small caps, the retail, especially brick and mortar, were not participating. And so we were kind of already positioned by having very little left in equities, and we were already long bonds, and we were long some of the gold miners, which at that point did well. So at this point right now, we've been very relaxed, mainly long the bonds, and really we don't actively trade like you guys do. And when I say we, I mean me and my members. We have different models that are more on the swing side of things. And so our alpha rotation, while the market was making new highs, went into bonds. And so we've been long bonds since anywhere from 139 to 142. And quite honestly, not really interested in being a hero at this point. Also, by the way, had done a blog on being long VIX, actually at the lows, and being long euro actually at the lows based on some technical indicators. So if you're looking at the big macro, those have been the big plays, but I still think we have some opportunity coming up, whether it be to the short side, although obviously your risk is a little bit skewed, or I'm looking at some other things to happen.
All right, great. We have a lot of charts I want to get to, obviously, and take a little bit of an in-depth look at a few things specifically. But we hear the term bear market kind of floating around. Whenever we get these kind of dramatic moves to the downside, there's obviously a very technical expectation that has to be met in order for the market to be in a bear market. From your opinion, though, are we in fact going to first of all get to a bear market? And what are your opinion on some of the overall indexes?
Well, again, it's going to depend on time frame. What happened, because the market plummeted so fast with the volatility, the moving averages haven't really had a chance to catch up. So just from a phase standpoint, we are not in a bear market on the daily phases. We're in distribution, which is really basically the next step would be bearish. And so, we quickly accelerated from bullish to caution to distribution. And that's why we saw literally a distribution of getting out of equities into cash. In order for it to be an official bear market, you need to see the 50-day moving average cross below the 200-day, and that hasn't happened. That doesn't mean it wouldn't happen. And what I was kind of hoping for, although it only really occurred for one day, was some kind of a dead cat bounce so that we could get closer to the moving averages and control that risk better. With that said, on the weekly chart, we actually have two of the key sectors already in a bearish phase, which means the 50-week has crossed below the 200-week. And that would be regional banks, which is no surprise considering in January that was already starting to fail, even though the rest of the market was still holding up. And the other no big surprise would be brick and mortar retail. Both of those on a weekly basis are in bearish phases. And then I think what I sent you guys were charts on the 80-month moving average. So that's really stepping back more. And so I love those 80-month moving averages because generally what they do is they measure whether or not a business cycle is really over. And that in and of itself is the reason why you're seeing a lot of people saying that we're in a bear market. Because we've had, if you're looking right now at the chart that you've got up there, it is, I'm sorry, I have to just look. Yes, it is the indices that, and not the indices, but the actual one index actually, and 3 sectors that are already below their 80-month moving average. So you have on the top left, that's brick and mortar retail. That already failed it a while ago. And as we know in the price of brick and mortar retail, it's been a dog for a long time. And then next to that would be the small caps, which yesterday closed right on the 80 monthly. And now, of course, with today's drop, it's just below. And then below that, we have transportation, which again, considering the blood that we're seeing in airlines in particular, cruise lines, et cetera, that also now is under the 80 monthly. And then the one next to that is the regional banks. And so the regional banks, of course, already were failing. And, you know, it's so interesting how technicals precede fundamentals. With this oil situation that we have now, a lot of the banks and a lot of the regional banks, I actually looked it up, like, for example, Capital One Financial, they have a lot of money tied up in oil and gas. Not a good situation for them.
Now, Mish, we talk a lot about, you have the term modern family of charts. A lot of people joining us possibly for the first time might not be familiar with that. Why don't you explain your modern family, and then we'll have a look at some of those charts.
Yes, I am more in love with my modern family now than I was when I started creating it, which was about 5-6 years ago, because it has done nothing but keep us on the right side of the market. So, you know, maybe we missed the last $20 of the S&P. When I say $20, I mean like, you know, the S&P and the NASDAQ that were going up in some of those high-flying stocks. And the reason why was because I was convinced, writing it and telling you guys, that the modern family wasn't participating, and it was telling me there was something wrong. Of course, nobody could have anticipated this virus situation. But anyway, what it is really the small caps as the only index in the modern family I call granddad. And the reason is because those small cap stocks really represent the supply side of the US economy and manufacturing that happens within the United States. IWM, the symbol, couldn't even get up to its 2018 highs when the S&P 500 was rallying. So there is a really good indication right there. And because I like to think of it as a family, he has a wife, and his wife is brick and mortar retail, granny retail, I call her. And of course, that sector has just been really horrific with all of the store closures we've had, with malls looking like ghost towns. And that is really an important sector, even though online commerce has basically come into vogue for years. The GDP is based on brick and mortar retail, and it makes up almost 70% of the gross domestic product. So those two alone were already broadcasting danger. Then you add the rest of their family, so you have transportation, which to me is more of a demand side. If the Russells are the supply side, this is the demand side. How fast and how robust are goods and services moving throughout the country and internationally? And of course, it was floundering before. Now it's really, really bad. And then the last 3 are really interesting the way they make it up. So one is semiconductors. And semiconductors, which is tech, still was leading up until finally even that has given it up. So tech was doing okay. And you're looking at the chart now of the modern family. These are weekly charts. Under the blue line that you can see on the bottom right is the semiconductors. It's finally giving up its 50-week. Look at the comparison of that, and we'll talk about biotech in a moment, compared to everybody else. And so the reason why it made the modern family is because it's been the leading sector, number one. I was calling her sister semiconductors or Wonder Woman for a while. And now just given up to the pressure. Still though, if the market were to find a bottom, which I'm certainly not saying is coming anytime soon, that would be probably where people should go and look at, would be always the stronger sector. And then to wrap it up, you have biotechnology, which has also been holding up relatively well, although today having some trouble as far as giving up the 200-day moving average. And that is because of all the biotech stocks that are working on vaccines. And it's a highly speculated area, but it also is a cyclical and a non-cyclical, which is why it's in the family. We need drugs no matter what's going on one level, but it also responds better, obviously, when we're in a good economy. And then regional banks makes up the rest. And that really signals what's going on in the rural areas in terms of banking. Are people borrowing money? Is there money coming out for businesses, cars, homes, et cetera, et cetera? So you put that all together, modern family's not been feeling so great. And as you can see right now, they're really feeling the pain.
Now, Mish, you mentioned quickly at the top there a little bit about junk bonds. I want to get to the oil market, obviously significant moves in the oil market. But why as traders, I mean, obviously there's tons of volatility anywhere you look at this point, but why as traders should we be paying attention to the junk bond market?
Because the junk bond market represents appetite for debt. And so right now, I mean, for the long time, for years, and there's a great chart of it, and you can see that this was bouncing off of the 200-day and over the 50-day moving average. And last time I was on the show with you, we talked about if it took out 110, that would be a very positive sign for the market. If it broke below 108.50, it would mean that people were starting to unwind their debt. And that's exactly what you're seeing here. Now, this is the price as of yesterday. Junk bonds right now are trading a little bit lower at 100.31, so literally $1 lower than what you're seeing. But keep in mind, if we go back to December 2018, which you can see on the far left of the chart, the low there was like 98.16. I don't have the number exact off the top of my head, but you can see that we actually, when we had the first dump a couple of days ago, hasn't taken out that low. Is that a good sign? Not necessarily. It's just another area to look at. If it fails, probably means we'll see another leg lower, which of course is going to impact the rest of the market.
Now, when it comes to the oil market, obviously it would have been difficult to see this move to the downside coming as far as the Russian and Saudi Arabia aspect goes. How have you been approaching the oil markets, if at all, during this period to the downside?
Well, happily we avoided it. But again, we used it as information. You know, one of the things that I have been talking about incessantly for a long time now is the possibility of stagflation. And so people will say to me, well, how can we have inflation if we have such low oil prices? And and certainly in terms of the metrics, there's a measure of that. But what's happening now is stagflation could come out of other situations, exactly what we're seeing right here, which is a crisis. And so with the oil right now, I wasn't surprised because I know that Russia and India and China have been talking about getting oil from Russia. And number one, and number two is sort of eliminating the Middle East because, you know, Russia has a tremendous oil economy, so it's very dependent on that. And then, of course, they've been talking a lot about the petrodollars and possibly that changing, which is why when they say this is bad for the shale oil business here in the United States, it really, I believe, has more to do with what happens to the U.S. dollar. So yeah, oil is certainly not something. And by the way, from a mega trend, you know, it's too bad that we haven't made more strides in the United States with alternative energy. But, you know, that dinosaur that provided all the petrol for all these years could finally be going extinct, which means there's kind of a silver lining to this once we get through the carnage.
And hey, Tesla's back at 600 or in the neighborhood of 600 once again. Let's go to some soft commodities here. I want to get your take on these. Not typically markets we look at a lot, but always good to get, you know, a higher time frame look at some of the soft commodities as well.
Well, don't forget, I started out in soft commodities. Yep. So, you know, I have a particular love for them. And I have been watching very carefully because what's very interesting right now is considering what's going on. Some of the soft commodities have not taken out the 2019 lows, let alone the 2018 lows. And so what that's telling me, so here we get back to that stagflation. I mean, I'm sure you've heard, I don't know what's going on in Canada, but I'm sure you've heard in the United States that toilet paper has flown off the shelves and there's no toilet paper around. Have you heard about that?
There's literally lineups. You know, people. It's the same exact situation. People, you know, with multiple carts coming out of Costco full of toilet paper and bottles of water. So yeah, same exact situation here.
Well, you know, the takeaway from that is the human psychology or the hoarding mentality when things get rough. And I believe, well, first of all, Trump announced today that he's probably going to consider continuing the bailout for farmers in the United States, which is a good thing because any trade with China, of course, has been halted as a result of this. But let's put that on the shelf for a second and just think about human psychology. If for any reason, well, first of all, we have rates that could head down closer to zero, if not negative. We have the dollar, which has struggled now and could go down more, particularly, as I said, if the geopolitical situation really impacts it in terms of petrodollars. Now add on top of that the potential of having a slowdown of not only production of raw materials and food, but also a slowdown in the distribution. And now all of a sudden the supply gets meager. But even more than that, think toilet paper. People start to stock up on food. That's what they need. So essentially what I've been watching here is a couple of the commodities that are related to food, sugar being one, wheat, corn, soybeans. And interestingly enough, the ETF that really has a lot of the agricultural basket, DBA. All of those are very much on my radar. And as you said, people don't even know about them. People who have been equity traders for years, they haven't been all that exciting. But I think there's the possibility that they could get very interesting. And they're already, just from the last few days, starting to outperform some of the indices in the equity markets.
As far as interest rates, you mentioned there, we could see zero or possibly even negative interest rates in the U.S. As far as a time frame goes, I mean, we're speculating here, obviously, but as far as a time frame goes, by the end of this year, where do you see us as far as the interest rates go?
Well, I think the Fed meeting is coming up March 18th, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see them lower again to try to do something to combat this. But they also know they're sort of out of tools because that may not really do anything. I think that they will continue to keep really the pressure on the rates to stay as low as possible. And I know they're actively looking at other types of tools that they may be able to use to try to help the economy, which is really basically buying other assets. Right now, the Fed in this country, not in other countries, but the Fed in this country is only allowed to buy government debt, not allowed to buy stocks or bonds. And so that might be something that they unleash down the road, but I don't think it's going to be all that easy. And of course, they're supposed to remain autonomous and not political. So that's another problem. But let's get back to the impact and the stagflation, because that's really, to me, what I'm most interested in terms of the bonds, other than the fact that we're long TLTs. If the bonds stay near zero and the dollar starts to weaken even further from where it is right now, and the food price, the food prices have already risen. So we already know cost of living is showing inflation. Wages are kind of flat to slightly grown. But if we get into any of that hoarding mentality with the food, then we have a stagflation situation. So where that ties back to bonds is what is the only thing that the Fed can do to try to control inflation? Raise rates.
There you go. Yeah.
Right. So we're in a really big conundrum right now. I mean, I feel very horribly for my friends and family who have called me and said my 401. I mean, I literally had a friend call me yesterday and told me she's down $200,000 in her account. And I feel horrible about that. I really do. But on the other level, as a technician and as one who's been around in the business for 40 years and has seen pretty much everything, even though this is historic, this is pretty exciting to watch how these relationships change. And we're in the business to make money. So I'm trying to figure out how I can, well, I've already protected the people who are my members and members of market gauge, but now I'm trying to figure out when this happens and get in right at the flexion point when the commodities start going up.
And that's all we can do at the end of the day, is just position ourselves the best we can. Mish, great information as always. I want to bring the guys in here. We'll send you over to Neil and Sean, talk about some individual names here.
Okay, great.
Great. Hi, Misha. I just want to give our viewers an update. I'm long Apple here, 276.50. Nice little 70-cent winner. Mish, thank you so much for coming on today. You did talk about the retail wreck, and it's actually funny because Neil and I were talking about that, and I used that exact same term there, the bricks and mortar situation there. One name that I traded, and it's one of my top stocks today, and it's actually going to be Macy's. And if we call up here, I know you know all about this. You've already talked about it. But look at this daily chart. It breaks its 50-period moving average back in February. That was $16. So Macy's today down almost 8%. And guess what? $9.50 today. This is basically 20 straight days all the way down for Macy's. Look, no online presence, obviously, or limited, and not a discount retailer. This kind of a name is going to be in trouble. Do you see, wow, Apple now, guys, $1 in the money as that one keeps flushing higher. Sorry to interrupt there, but do you see any further downside, or are we at that spot right now where a lot of the equity holders, unfortunately, like your friend there, may be getting stopped out, maybe putting in those orders, and we do see a little bit of a bounce in some of these bricks and mortar names?
I'm hearing that actually people that are calling up their financial planners and brokers are more buying than selling.
Right.
They'll have a mentality, which makes sense over the last 11 years, is to buy every dip. And that's still going on. That's the most dangerous thing that I can think of. You know, the old Jesse Livermore line about, you know, markets are built on blah, blah, blah. I don't even want to quote it, but you all know it. Essentially, it really works out. You know, when we're in the greatest state of euphoria is usually the top, or when the last bear starts buying, then you know we're near the top. Right. And the actual top, there was a huge surge of volume that day on the buy side. And I actually said to a friend of mine who's in the business, oh, you know her, Jane. We were talking on Twitter. That was probably the top, and it was. And the same thing happens on the bottom. As soon as everybody throws in the towel and starts to sell, then you know it's probably going to reach a bottom. We're nowhere near that. I mean, even my poor friend who called me yesterday, practically in tears, said, well, I'm just not going to look.
Oh, no, she's crying.
It you know, breaks my heart because I read a whole book on this subject. I constantly preach on this subject, this passive buy and hold. Why would you want to sit through a 20, now over 20%, possibly 30 to 50% decline? Right. And then, as we know in 2008, all those brokers, by the time they threw in the towel, they had such post-traumatic stress syndrome that they didn't even buy. When up until about 2013, they missed the bottom from 2009 to 2013.
Misha, I want to give a shout out for those, it's reminiscence of a stock operator there, Jesse Livermore. Good shout out to that book and to our friend, like we talked about, she was on the show earlier Monday, at It's Airplane Jane. I know Neil has a quick question.
One before we get you out of here, we appreciate you giving so much time today. I know you mentioned in your notes today, we talked about IWM, that 127.74 level from 2018. We just took it out to the downside, but what I was interestingly noting is that we took the low on the futures as well. You didn't see that yen USD swap come down. You actually saw the Treasury hold. It didn't make a move as well. They've been moving in lockstep. So my kind of gut read there was maybe we're not going to see a continuation, at least today, when that key level broke. You didn't see everything else follow along with it. What would be your take? Obviously, it does pertain to further south side, but it is more of a very, very short-term time frame. Do you have any idea as far as that little disconnect there with Treasuries and, of course, a dollar-yen swap?
Well, you know, the Treasury has moved up so fast. And like I said, I think that we had this huge parabolic move. And by the way, we're still working on a runaway gap. If you just look at the TLTs, it had a runaway gap 3 days ago, which means literally a gap to new highs. That's a classic runaway gap. We didn't quite fill that gap with yesterday's correction, and we're holding there today. So I think that, you know, really what we're looking at now is not necessarily pure relationships that we see them as we've always defined them, but more like the liquidity crisis. And if people are long bonds and they need to raise money, they may be selling them. And that's really simple as that. I would just continue to look at the macro stuff that we just talked about. Look at the 80-month. We have a long way to go on the 80-month, by the way, with the S&P. It could go all the way down to 208 before it reaches its 80-month.
Oh, don't say that, Mish. Don't say that, Mish. Let's hope the market is bullish moving
Come on,
forward.
this is why we love having you on. Get that straight goods, get
Run
that
the
perspective.
Bulls,
I know
run
the
the
viewers
Bulls.
appreciate it for sure. Thank you again for your time. We'll throw you back to Brendan. But what wild markets, and what a fantastic day to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mish.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's always so much fun to be with you.
Mish, wealth of knowledge. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Why don't you give everyone your social media accounts and the website one more time?
Okay, so it's marketgauge.com, and if you go through the tabs, Market Beat is where you'll find my daily blog. My husband, Keith Schneider, who's the CEO, writes a weekly one with a video, so that's always good information. A lot of the stuff that I talked about today, I put in the blog. Then if you want to reach me on Twitter, it's @MarketMinute, and I'm very active there, and I'm very responsive to questions. Also, Facebook is Mish's Market Minute Daily, LinkedIn under Michelle Schneider, and Instagram even. So, as I said last time, if you want to find me, you can.
All over the place on social media.
All over.
Mish Schneider, Director of Trading Education and Research over at Market Gauge. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brendan. So fun to be here. Thank you again, and thank you everybody watching.
We'll speak to Mish again on the show and have her back for another segment. Just a wealth of knowledge. Great to get that kind of higher time frame, higher perspective look at all kinds of different markets that they track over at Market Gauge. Go check out their website, guys. Lots of great information over at marketgauge.com. Let's go back to the guys.
One of our favorites there, the knowledge there about those charts and the family. What was it?
Modern Family.
You watched
Dropping
that show at all?
science. You know what?
Last season for Modern Family. There goes
I've never
Apple
really
Bang.
watched it. We were talking a bit in the channel. Some of you guys were following along there, talking about that sort of failed break to the downside and coming back in. So in a short term, I did mention JPM's what I like. So that's the well that I'm going to jump back into, and we picked them up and added to it. And ended up with a 96.80 average price here. Look, again, you're using the low of the day. You can use that level if you want. I want to jump in for your question there, Rasmus. Even if you even if you think it's close to a coin flip on something like a name, I've seen these names in the afternoon continue to run. If you do get that market flush, that's usually been bullish for these coronavirus-related names here, and it would be hard to imagine it breaks to the upside while holding this even and not retest the top. So in that situation, you're really risking 30, 40 cents. You're trying to make 3x that without a breakout, so that's fantastic. As I mentioned a couple of times, I like INO, I've liked Codex, I like that, the AYTU, that's where I've had the read, that's where I'm sticking with. Again, you just sort of have to have your edge. You're seeing a very similar thing happen in INO here too as well. It's a little bit ways away from that bottom, 60 cents or so. It's a little bit closer to breaking out through that top. So it's a bit of a different story here where if you're trying along an INO, you're really only about 80 pennies away from breaking that 850, and then you can get a run through that price. I don't know that necessarily makes me more bullish on the name. It just gives you a different profile. But here we are. We're going to test that bottom again on the futures. And if we flush a second time here, watch out. I've been watching Nike 83, watching Carnival Cruise Lines, holding 2150. If that goes, watch out below. But it is time for our wrap. Let's go on to Brendan at the big screen.
Hey guys, we'll wrap things up for the morning here, coming up to 12 o'clock in the Eastern time zone. Still big time negative territory right across the board here. The S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, better part of 3+% right across the board. The TSX here in Toronto, 3.25%. You can see Brazil, wow, 5.4% to the downside again today. Bitcoin 2.6%, still lower on the day. There's crude and gold at the bottom there, also both in negative territory. Welcome to the wrap. If you're joining us for the first time, this is the segment we kind of go back and look at some names that we might not have gotten to throughout the show as far as actually trading or pulling up on the screen to see what was going on. One of them that we talked about in the morning was Apple as a possibility, guys, as maybe being a little bit stronger than the rest. And if we got a bounce in the overall market, maybe Apple would be one to look to as a long opportunity if the market was going to be strong. It was Bank of America with the downgrade or price target cut today on Apple. Not a lot of opportunity here. I mean, excuse the wicks all over the place here, but pretty tight consolidation for Apple.
Yeah, I'll take this. I mean, I've been talking about long Apple. I'm 2 for 2 apples, now my #1 stock. While we were talking with Mish there, Brendan, I hit it pretty hard, breaking near 276. We went long and then just started. I apologize. These wicks are just horrible, but we'll get rid of those eventually. My best out rate up here, 277.41. I like it to the long side if this market gets going. Now, we do have a problem in that the market wants to go down, so Apple is going to be a little bit of trouble spot here for many of you traders, but I just keep trying my best to find some nice longs. And what we talk about here, I'm just going to zoom this back out. Hopefully it's okay for the open, and it's not. But we did go long right away off the open, and we're able to catch that quick dollar as well. So I just think you need to be specific with your timing, and you can hit Apple long. I'd wait for the afternoon at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a good look there. I haven't had a trade in Apple myself. I've been mainly focusing on, in Nike and JPM, and I'll stick to that. But I'll sort of, what will we do? Co-sign everything Sean just mentioned there.
Oh, guys, let's go to Cloudera real quick here. We're going to get Valeria to keep us in focus in a couple minutes, but I want to talk about Cloudera. They actually reported earnings. Cloudera reported 4 cents per share of profit for their fiscal fourth quarter. Analysts were expecting a loss of 3 cents per share. Revenue was also to the upside as well. So you can see the move aftermarket yesterday. It's been pretty muted today, kind of grinding to the downside with the overall market.
I'm going to drop the key level in here. And look, I did mention one thing about Cloudera. We said we need to get back to it. I talked about a pivot at 875. I had a long bias in the stock, which is sometimes that's going to work against you because, what you should be doing with that level as a day trader is just fading in front of it. You can always reverse long if it breaks. There's nothing wrong with that. And we don't take the short in front. And that's been the only trade. Using that level would have been fantastic. You get a nice little 70-cent move on an $8 stock. But if you were long biased, you just didn't have anything today. Throw me into that category. Big miss on Cloudera. It was a great level. It was a great look, but you still got to have the trade. Sometimes you just got to go both ways.
Yeah, it's funny. I do have a long bias to cloud names, and I didn't trade it either. Just so many things happening today. Missed that. And by the way, our friendly neighborhood Apple just moved once again another dollar, Brendan, and straight to the upside now. Apple 277 and change. So if you are bottom picking, I just talked about it, possibly go long Apple, but I would like to wait until the afternoon myself.
You know what I love about this? You see Apple there with that move to the upside, and then you look at the futures, barely even breaking off the bottom. Just took 50 pennies on the long in that JPM, and again, you find the names that are relatively strong, and you don't get much of a move, and they start to work to the upside. So I do feel like we're going to have a big opportunity. If we get the long break, you can look at the futures yourself or find some of these stronger names there, Brennan.
All right, we're going to come back and talk about Uber here, guys. There's a little bit of a news story on Uber in the ride-sharing space in general, but let's take a break. We're going to head over to the TV and get an update on some of the measures the U.S. is taking to help combat the coronavirus. Here's Valeria.
Thanks, Brandon, and hey everyone. President of US Donald Trump and top economic officials met yesterday for the closed-door lunch to discuss the ways on how to ease the coronavirus impact on the economy of the country. Well, White House plans to lay out some measures, including proposals to implement paid sick leave, to postpone on tax collection on specific industries, including cruise lines, airlines, and hotels, and also proposals to create a effective and good loans for small businesses. Also, Trump said that he might back the payroll tax cut. Payroll tax supports two biggest safety nets of the country: the Social Security and Medicare. Workers will pay 6.2% on their first $137,000 wage and salary income this year for the Social Security, and they will pay 1.45% for the Medicare this year. Well, the cut would apply for those 6.2%, which would go for Social Security. if lawmakers of US will accept the cut, it would be probably in effect temporarily. The reason for temporary cut is to put some extra cash to the people's pockets so they spend more money, which could boost the economy of the US. Though it's still unclear how effective it could be with the coronavirus outbreak. That's all for today, and stay in focus. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Valeria. Great stuff. Always have to, kind of keep an eye on what's happening on an economic side of things as well when it comes to this coronavirus. Obviously, Europe taking some measures today to help combat it as well. Let's get back to review. I want to talk about Uber here. We mentioned it. If you joined us at 9 o'clock this morning, there was a story regarding, the creation of a service for children that Uber is working on, and a story also mentioning the fact that Uber may suspend accounts of anyone, guys, who has tested positive for the coronavirus. So I just went back on the daily chart here. This is November back here. We're back to almost November levels for Uber.
Suspend accounts of those?
Yeah.
What, you mean drivers maybe, Brendan? Was that what it was?
No, like users. So if you had tested positive for the coronavirus, you're not allowed to use Uber.
Okay.
And
I mean, you shouldn't.
The question becomes, how do you enforce that?
I don't even understand.
How are they
that,
enforcing
you also
that?
shouldn't be allowed to go shopping or anything like that. So I think, again, some of these coronavirus stories, although obviously it's a very serious thing, people are losing their lives and whatnot, but this seems to be a little bit overdone, especially if that is going to be kind of the driver. But look,
You got a battle here in this stock.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the more people keep refusing this, to go outside and come to events. We know that even for myself, and I know there's a few traders here planning on going on vacation, so on and so forth. A lot of that has been canceled. Some conferences that people are going to also canceled. Uber, Neil, as you know, we both take it, a very popular ride-sharing program, obviously going to get hit here.
Yeah, and just a bit of a battle getting waged at 27 even on this at the bottom here, as the futures just can't seem to get going. Now we're stuck in this little 30-40 handle range around 8,100 on the NASDAQ, and that bottom that we talked about in the ES, at 27.65, it broke once, came back in, and Uber is just sitting right on those lows. So I guess throw this one into that list, I suppose, of names that you want to short in case of that break, and you can use that 27 if we get some follow through here. I like it. What I do love, and I want to jump over, is you're watching us slide back down a little bit. JP Morgan is looking we talked about relative strength. As we slide back down and make this range, JP is coming off the bottom. When I talked about that reversal when you didn't have a move in the treasuries and, of course, the swap US yen, that maybe we would stop that little sell. I reversed long in JPM, and without the futures, it already works in the money for you to the long side. So I'm going to stick with this one if we're going to get a buy in the afternoon. I like JP Morgan. I'll check in to see what the other financials are doing, but to me, this seems like it's the right place to be. Apple was moving as well, so you can jump into that. But add Uber to the list of things you want to sell if we get a flush.
All right, guys, let's go to Nike real quick. We mentioned Nike. A couple people in the chat, I think, were trading this one throughout the session today. Nike down 2.4% in the pre-market this morning as rivals, or two of the rivals, Adidas and Puma, both pointed to possible profit troubles throughout the remainder of the year because of the coronavirus outbreak in China specifically. So Nike, obviously big exposure there. Now down 5.8%, guys. This was a mess, though, right off the open.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic shorting opportunity, and you know what? Shout out to Aqua, our good friend online there. I missed the second leg of this trade, and I was all over it with a core position the entire time, took it off in front of the low, and the reason you do this, the reason you do that kind of a scalp, knowing there could be a couple of dollars extra here, is so that you can get back in. And if you don't get back in front of this VWAP retracement, I don't know when you're supposed to. You also don't get back in on that secondary break of 83.
Never.
I move over to Carnival Cruise, something I wasn't even trading at that moment. Again, maybe you get that FOMO, whatever you want to call it. You can call it FOMO, but you don't jump off of the ship when you have the good read to jump into something new. Even if it was a winning trade on Carnival Cruise, it was not where you were making your bank earlier on. It's a bit of a mistake for me, but a great name to the short side all day long today.
Right. And welcome back. She's in the building. Emma's back here. Let's hit the confetti. She did not.
I didn't even see her.
She did not fall off any mountains or anything, so that is great.
That is good.
She's no.
You're not going to catch me on a mountain.
No crutches or broken bones here, so that is great. Another one of our team members back. Very nice to see. Look, we only have 3 minutes left. We are live on YouTube.
I can get behind
every single day, 9 o'clock till 12.
Whoa, JP Morgan.
The market not moving, but JP.
No, JP. Look, market market not
JP
moving.
Morgan.
Heading downside in the futures, holding the bottoms. JP breaking to the top. Look, I got to take profit off on this. It tests those highs. You're going to grab about $1.30 on that second leg that we got to the long side there. Monster move. And we talked about this relative strength. Big move. It looks like we're at middle. If we get any kind of a bounce in futures, $100 today, ladies and gentlemen. But again, I think because we're not participating in the overall market, you're probably going to get a secondary opportunity to jump into this one. So we'll back away here. We'll watch that recent high off the opening range top 98.60 or so. So we'll watch that. But also looking at these markets, still hanging around the low. So I think we'll get another shot.
All right, guys, I think we have to keep an eye on the energy markets here as well, depending on what the overall futures do. But I wanted to mention Oxy here, just making day lows below $12. Now, you can really pull up any one of these charts. They've given you all kinds of opportunities to the downside today. 17% on Oxy to the downside today. As far as the afternoon goes, what do we look at here?
Oxy, I think. I didn't even, Brendan, thanks for bringing that up. This was the trade of the day, and we sort of stopped looking at it. It broke 12.55. That's where we got out. And you mentioned, Brendan, you actually asked me right there on the trade of the day, what do we do when it breaks? And I said, go short. Yeah, these are not go shorts. These are getting out of this. I was only holding 20%, so it didn't affect my net or anything. Did not even notice that. So you're asking what to trade in the afternoon? WLL, Whiting, Oxy. Check out some of these oil names. Oil not really moving, but these stocks are tanking right now.
Worth noting here, much like yesterday, you did have a move in oil from 34, broke down to 33.50 or so, with Oxy not budging, and then eventually the floor came out. So for the second day in a row, you are seeing levels being held. You get that move down and someone's taking the opportunity to buy, unloading a short position. Who knows? Maybe they're a big buyer. We know Warren, our good friend, is everyone's good friend, is involved. Who knows? But either way, every time there's a major flush, someone's trying to hold Oxy up, and there's a great flush when the floodgates finally open up.
We'll take a look at what's coming up after market today and also before the open tomorrow. There are a few earnings names that we can have a look at here before we get out of here.
Novavax, we're definitely going to have a look at that. Certainly been in play. Outside of that, I mean, you can look at a Dollar General just if you want to keep that theme of retailers. But we know Novavax has definitely been an in-play, sort of high-flying, high-volatility name. So 100% we'll be looking at that name. I do believe, and we love this segment, and we're going to do this before we get out of here, I need to know what day it is today, and I feel like the picture that I see Valeria's going to drop for us is misleading, but I'll let her talk about what day it is today and why it's important.
Hey viewers, first of all, I would like to thank you for being with us today and for all your activity, for all your comments, likes, and please give us more likes before we leave and subscribe for our show in order to get a notification when we go live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Well guys, today is the National Oatmeal Not Waffle Day. Oatmeal. Write in the comments how you pronounce right, oatmeal or... Yeah, that was right.
Waffle day. Okay.
Oatmeal's not a Russian word there, Valeria?
Oatmeal nut waffle day. Look at why is it not just waffle? I love waffles.
No, why is it not just oatmeal day? Why are we hating on waffles all of a sudden?
Oatmeal waffle.
We're gonna have to double check that day. I don't even know if that makes
waffle
any sense. But
waffle day I get.
Okay,
oatmeal day I get.
All right, let's scrap this idea. Do you prefer oatmeal or waffles if you were to have a breakfast?
Is this a trick question? Anyone answering oatmeal has got a problem. I love oatmeal. It's healthy. It's great. I do eat it often. But waffles all day.
Let us know in the chat.
Waffles all day, every day, with legit real maple syrup. You got to have real maple syrup. That's the key.
Well, that's the other thing too, obviously. But you can actually put maple syrup on oatmeal.
I do it all the time. It's a great way to sweeten oatmeal. Brendan, what are your thoughts on oatmeal?
Well, which one has sugar?
I actually had gluten-free waffles on the weekend, and they were good. They were good. But they also
going up in smoke. No, put it back to bread.
They also had fried chicken.
I don't even know why we.
They also had fried chicken on them, so it was fine.
Oh, fried chicken. Fried chicken.
Hey, well, you should have said that from the beginning, Brendan.
The air horn. I'm not sure that's true or not, but good recovery.
Now we're bullish on Brendan's taste.
Oh, cream of wheat, actually. I used to like cream of wheat as a wee one, but now, Jeremy, good look there. Don't know if that's a Canadian thing or not, but cream of wheat, a form of oatmeal.
Yes.
So
we've had a fun show today. It is 12 o'clock. It's been an awesome morning. Watch out for these bottoms in the futures. We haven't been able to bounce off them despite holding up in some of the other metrics. But look, it's going to be a great one. Tune in every single day at 9 a.m. We're going to be here on YouTube Live. And for the entire team here, you see Valeria, Liz doing a fantastic and professional job, as you guys noted. And as always, for Brendan Wickens and myself, Neil Roberts, Sean Katina, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is tradertv.live. We'll see you tomorrow.
Put it up. Bye-bye.